Well, welcome everyone. Unfortunately, that played the Tech Talks intro, but it's still the same group of people that are over here. So, welcome everybody to the VictoriaMetrics year-end wrap-up virtual meetup. We're excited to have a whole cast of characters that you're probably used to from the VictoriaMetrics team. Yep. Matthias?
Matthias, you are muted.
Oh, never mind.
I don't know if Matthias had anything to say there, but again, just thanks everybody for joining us for our last virtual meetup, the wrap up for the year. We're going to go through a whole host of different topics, ranging from our roadmap. We've also got a special guest. We've got Lauren from Spotify Engineering or R&D. I don't know if I said the name correct there, Lauren, but we're excited to hear your story of working with VictoriaMetrics in your environment and just what it was brought to the value. So anyone else you want to kind of go around everybody and just say a quick intro and we can warm up and see where we're from and any interesting thing that you want to say. So we'll just, Matthias, do you want to go first and then you can pick on someone?
Sure. I'm Matthias. I'm a solutions engineer at VictoriaMetrics. I'm based in Cedar Falls, Iowa, and right now it's about 3 degrees C out, and there's lots of snow on the ground for Christmas. Diana, you want to go next?
Yeah, hi, I'm Diana. I'm a developer experience engineer at VictoriaMetrics. I'm based in Valencia, Spain. I'm not sure how many degrees are right now, but let's assume like around 15, give or take. Yep. Back to you, Dennis.
Hey, my name is Dennis. I am communities marketing manager in VictoriaMetrics. And today with Diana and GJ, we will talk about some community news and not only. GJ.
Sure, shall I go next? Okay.
Yes, please.
So I'm the JJ people that was referred to, and I'm based in Dublin, and I'm also on the marketing team, and I'll be joining Diana and Denise later to do an update on everything that's been happening this year in the community side of things for VictoriaMetrics and our users. And I'll hand over to Fadir.
Hi guys, my name is Fred, or how JJ calls me, Fadir or Fadir. Yeah, everything works for me. So I'm residing in Poland, in the city of Wrocław, and the temperature it feels like 0, I believe. And I believe it was also kind of Christmas mood, but the only thing left is a bad air quality, which is usual stuff in Poland. But still, fingers crossed for a good Christmas time. And the next should be Jose. Oh, sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. For those who don't know me, I'm representing VictoriaMetrics Anomaly detection team. And the next would be
one
Max.
sec, Fred. Before you pass it off, Fred, I just want to clarify. Yeah. You said that the air is bad, and that's a typical Christmas. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's typical winter syndrome in Poland.
Okay.
So once there is no snow, but the weather is around 0 or below, the weather starts to get worse.
Okay, perfect.
And the air quality starts to get worse,
all right,
unfortunately.
Awesome. I'll let you pass it on now. Thanks, Fred.
Yeah, go on, Max.
Hi, everyone. My name is Max. I'm Metrics team leader. I will present what we've got for you on the metrics side and what we are going to work in upcoming time. I'm based in Kiev, Ukraine, and you can see there the temperature here in real time. Alexander?
Yeah, I'm Alexander Valyalkin. Probably everybody knows me, but let me repeat it again. I'm the CTO at VictoriaMetrics, and I mostly work on VictoriaLogs during the last few years. And I'm located in Krakow in Poland, and the weather in Krakow is roughly the same as in Wrocław, around 0 degrees Celsius, and the air quality is also not so good. Yeah, but it's okay. The next one is Lauren.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I'm sitting from Spotify to kind of go over how we use VictoriaMetrics today. I'm not sure if someone else has to introduce themselves.
Jose, your last one, or you already present?
Yeah, there's a lot of us. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm Jose. I work as a product lead for cloud, and I don't really know. I want to know what's the air quality here in Madrid and the weather, because I don't go out that much, especially this week. So I'm looking forward for the weekend, being able to see the street.
So
Back to you, Mark.
When you hit your code contribution quota, you're allowed to go outside. Is that it?
Yeah, some sort like that.
Awesome.
Lately, more slides and things like that. Yeah, boring.
Perfect. And I'm Mark Sherwood. I'm also on the marketing team. I'm calling in from Vancouver, British Columbia, where we are in our standard winter mode, where it is gray and raining. We had 3 atmospheric rivers came in. So anyone who doesn't know, that's where we get at least 5 to 7 centimeters of rain in one rain event. So we've got flooding and all sorts of fun. So that's our winter here. The rest of Canada is a frozen snowscape right now, and we're just wet. So that's where we are. So awesome. Well, thanks everybody. Is there anything else that anyone else wants to cover before we hop right into our pre-planned events?
I think we can kick it off, Mark. Yep.
Sure. Let me just get everybody down to... Bear with me. We've got so many people here. It takes a little bit of time to click everybody as being off. So I'm going to add, who do we have? Matthias, and Matthias, who are you presenting with? Max, is that correct?
Yep. Max and I are going to go over metrics first.
Perfect. So I will disappear and let you guys take over.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Max. I'm a new leader of metrics team. I will present what we've done and what we are planning to work on. You might seen Roman presenting this, and I will present instead of him and lead the team. During this time, the team grew. We have 3 new people on the team. Vadim worked at Red Hat before and have quite extensive experience in Kubernetes and OpenShift, so his experience will be really valuable. Kirill built small and big observability platforms and shaped SRE teams in his previous work, and will help with support in VictoriaMetrics. Jay from China, he worked in Chinese big companies on distributed databases. So yeah, his experience will be big value in VictoriaMetrics as well. All of them worked with VictoriaMetrics before joining the company. They used our products and fall in love with what VictoriaMetrics does and how it works. So and started contributing to the product even before they joined the company. So if you love what we do and how we work, you share our values, you can also contribute to the VictoriaMetrics and gets noticed, and maybe as well join the team in future.
And Max, it doesn't just have to be code contribution, right? Bug reports are also appreciated.
Yeah, we value small changes documentation changes, small bug fixes. So they are so it shouldn't be something big or serious or huge in scale. Anything, even small changes, matters. So you can do that.
Yeah, because I think before I started here, I just complained that there was a couple of like influx endpoints that didn't work properly, and that was all the contribution I had before I started.
Yeah, sounds really similar. So in Q4, we made 7 new releases, fixed 44 bugs, and 33 of them we backported to the LTS versions, and also implemented almost 50 features during that time. Most of them not that big, but they focused on the user experience and Prometheus compatibility and stability of the VictoriaMetrics in general. We also have a few new features. One of them is support of metrics metadata. It is not enabled by default, so for now you have to set the flag enabled metadata true. And if your endpoint exposes this metadata, like here on the left side, then it will be scrapped, ingested, and stored. And it will be possible to query that metadata.
And does that metadata automatically show up inside of Grafana if you're just using the Prometheus data source? You don't have to do anything else, right? You just have to turn it on and scrape it?
Yeah, it's completely Prometheus compatible. It works for single and cluster version. And it also supports multi-tenancy. It's our addition. So the metrics metadata scrapped for different tenants is isolated and stored separately. And admin or someone with like global access can see all the metadata. And it also works, like the reason why we added metadata is the rise of AI agents and those kind of tools. So it is integrated with MCP, VictoriaMetrics, that we provide. So if you expose this metadata then and use MCP VictoriaMetrics, it will be much more useful used together.
And it works with OpenTelemetry push as well as Prometheus scrapes, right?
Yes, it works. There are some limitations. The metadata is stored in memory only. So whenever you restart the storage, you will lost the metadata, but it will be repopulated with future scraps. The metadata is ingested independently from metrics, so it might be that like don't expect that metrics and metadata goes in the same place. It could be that way, but there are chances that they might end up in different places, or you might, for example, have metrics but don't metadata, or have metadata but don't have the corresponding metrics. The metrics, the metadata is grouped by the what is called family name. So if there are several definitions of the same metadata across the scrap targets, then the last one will override the rest of them. So only the one example, the latest, is stored. And there is a limitation for how much memory could be allocated to store metadata. By default, it is kept to 1% of the allowed memory, but there is a flag, as always. You can choose that value. Another feature, the slowness rerouting has been improved. The rerouting was present before. It was there for a long time, but the previous implementation had a few downsides. One of them is present on the slide. So when the cluster is overloaded, so all the storages lack CPU to process the ingestion load, all of them might start reroute metrics to another storage. Like inserts could start reroute the metrics for one storage to another storages. And it doesn't make much sense because all of the storages are overloaded. And rerouting in this case makes the situation worse, not better. And on the right, you can see that the new implementation, and this behavior was known and called as rerouting storm. It's a bad thing. And on the right, you can see that the new implementation kind of avoids this situation. So there is a rerouting. It happens from time to time, but the scale is much smaller. And in case if the cluster has only one storage that lags behind the other storages, it is like if you have, for example, 50 storage nodes and one of them for some reason becomes slow, it would define the ingestion capacity for the whole cluster. And that's unfortunate because you have 50 storages, but one of them is slow and all other storages just idle, do nothing, and this one storage is busy working on something. And to get the better throughput, the rerouting exists. In this case, this slow storage node is detected, and the rerouting happens only for this slow storage. Here, the new one on the left side. So it does rerouting. It does rerouting a bit less than the previous implementation. It's because it has it not only controls the slowest node, it also checks that the cluster as a whole has the capacity to ingest that data.
So for the slowness-based rerouting, would that be helpful with clusters that have expanded over time? So say you have a 50-node cluster now, but it started out as 10. Would you see better throughput because the rerouting is based on slowness and the slower nodes would likely be the older ones?
Like in normal condition, this rerouting shouldn't happen. So if you see these graphs with some data, it means that you have to address that. That bottleneck has to be found and fixed. And rerouting should stop. And this is the normal situation. So there is no rerouting at all in the cluster. That's what should be considered the healthy cluster. If there is the rerouting, it means that it has to be addressed. It could save up time for the operator, because it's not that the situation is not that bad. Like when the ingestion stalls and you don't ingest anything. In this case, you would still ingest, but one storage would lag behind, and it has to be fixed.
Okay.
And for all the users that stuck with Zabbix, we have you covered. There is an integration for Zabbix Connect, so you can collect data to Zabbix and then push it in VictoriaMetrics. It could be useful. VictoriaMetrics could be used as a long-term storage for Zabbix. Yeah. One small improvement, like it's really small one, and the niche, I'd say, but my favorite. The graph on the raw query tab improved. So currently it's not, the dots are not connected anymore, because for the raw query panel, it is not like if you open this panel, you likely want to see the exact points and their exact time. And also, this is the one improvement. And the second one that now we visually display the points that close to each other. So we render them as a square. And if you hover over that square, you could see how many points are clustered there. And for this improvement is very helpful for cases when you have to deal with deduplication bugs or weird behavior. With this panel, it would be much easier to deal with. In previous quarter we improved the search in our documentation. In this quarter we added the blog search by blogs there, and here a bit of statistic for that. As you can see, the people mostly end up on the how-to pages or get it started or how something works. This is not the end. We have a few more ideas related to docs search, so expect it improve even more in next quarter. We also did a few improvements to the playground. The homepage was enhanced. Since we have like three complete products, metrics, logs, and traces. So we improved this section and highlighted all the stuff related to this product, so it would be easier to navigate and find what you want from this homepage. And also we added the OTel demo. The demo is from the OTel team. The interesting part here that this demo is based on our products. So all the signals, metrics, traces, and logs, all that data is queried from our products. So it means that our products could be used to as a replacement for OTel.
And it wouldn't be a replacement for OTel, it would be a home for OTel data, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the cool thing about the Telescope Shop demo for OTel is that it's like a microservice of 20 of the 25 SDKs, or like a vast majority of the OTel data. So if your programming language and framework of choice works with OTel, it's likely included in the demo. And it's also kind of a good tool for people who are looking at switching observability vendors, because more and more people are starting to have a playground like this where you can compare the different implementations of storing OTel data.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it works that way. Like there is this dashboard in the playground where you can see all the signals, and you can ensure that it works and it is supported. The metrics and other data is stored, so we have compatibility with ingestion protocol, and also the compatibility with querying part of the OTel.
And there's one other thing I think that's been added recently to the public playgrounds, and that is might be spoilers for Fred, but I think there's a VM Anomaly playground now as well.
Yeah, maybe we will leave it for Fred to show. We have a couple of improvements on the performance side. As you know, VictoriaMetrics always strives to be the fastest, use as less resources as possible. And in this quarter, we improved the insertion and select. The idea is quite similar in these two cases, to reduce the time, how much we spent on the compression. For example, in case of select, the blocks all are read from the storage, and they are already compressed, so there is no need to compress them one more time while sending over the wire. And we had that several compression, and now we removed it and send blocks as is. And the third one, this is like my advice for all the gophers out there who is interested in Go runtime and memory allocations and operation system, to take a look at this commit. You might learn a few things about that. This one from our guru Alex, and the last one, we changed the compiler from for C code from Muscle to glibc. It turned out that Muscle has slow memory allocator, and when you run the VictoriaMetrics on the machines with many cores, it became the limiting factor. So to get, and glibc doesn't have that limitation. So for people that run VictoriaMetrics on servers with, say, 30, 40 or more CPU cores, they should see an improvement. And you have to trust my word on this. I was looking for some proofs or some graphs, but I've not found. So, but if you see some improvements, I'm looking forward to get to see your feedback. So please share.
Max, I think you missed a very good opportunity to expense like 128 CPU or 128 core CPU to the company.
Yeah. Okay. That's not our job. Our job is to save resources for good. There are other improvements. The reduce of memory usage in VM agent. It is kind of controversial one. We disabled the debuggability in VM agent, but that greatly improved the memory usage. We have there are complaints about that, and we are looking to ways how we can keep the debug working by default and use less memory. But for now, this feature is disabled. So if you need that targets discovery debug feature, you have to enable it explicitly. Some improvements to the stream aggregation, VM UI rendering, and the last one, open telemetry, got 6 times faster in the last version, but please don't update yet. There is a memory leak in that version. It was fixed, but please wait for the next release.
And that next release should be out in
Uh,
or does Christmas screw up the release schedule?
In the start of January, the January 2nd or 4th. Some small improvements to the dashboards. Nothing big. All of them are focused on the user experience. In some cases, for example, if you have a lot of non-default flags, now you can filter through them and find faster what you need. And we also added a couple of new panels. They are focused on the memory issues. So when you suspect that you have some problems with the memory, you can visit the memory usage breakdown panel. And my favorite, really small, but favorite, the links in the dashboards have been reviewed and enhanced. And for example, for VM alert, you can click the troubleshooting and get straight to the VM alert troubleshooting documentation. And there is a complete list of all the tricky cases that might happen with alerting. And we tried to describe all of them so you can easily get from the dashboard to the documentation and stuff. There were a bunch of fixes and improvements to the VM alert. They are not big, but they focused on the user experience and Prometheus compatibility. I like this one. The now function has been added to the templating, and it helps to calculate the duration of the, for example, it could be used to calculate the duration of the alert. So when you get alert, you can see how long it was firing, for example.
And I forget if this was this quarter or last quarter, VM alert now shows up in VM UI if you have proxy URL set, right?
Yeah, we added VM alert section to VM UI in the previous quarter. In this quarter, we improved that, there were a couple of improvements, visibility improvements on that page, but the page was added in the previous quarter. One of our customers reported the security issue. Someone can craft the malicious snappy payload where they send a small payload but declare the size to be the maximum possible, and the maximum possible size for snappy, I believe, 2 gigabytes. And VictoriaMetrics trusted that value and tried to allocate that memory on the server. And that could be exploited to crash VM agent or VM single.
VM agent, single, and insert, I think, were the 3 components affected, right?
Yeah. So they someone can send these small requests and crash the services. They would crash with out of memory. They all been fixed. We've also fixed the similar problem in ZSTD protocol, but it's not that severe for ZSTD because the limit, the maximum value for ZSTD is much slower. But we fixed it there as well, and also we sent a patch to Prometheus community, and it was fixed, merged and fixed there as well. What we are going to work in upcoming time. We are going to release partition index. Currently, we have a global index, and the global index creates some issues. It could become big, and it is cleaned up not that often, and because of that, in some cases, it could occupy even more space than the data itself. And this feature has to fix that. Once merged, the index will reside inside data partition folders with the data. And when this partition is out of retention scope, it will be removed. The data and the index, the whole partition will be removed. And we are going to merge this pretty soon. We have a couple of customers that use this feature even in production. So if you're eager to try it, you can. It is quite stable and it works fine. We are checking a few last things before merge. Yeah.
And this is forward compatible too, right? So if you already have an existing VM single or VM storage, you just need to upgrade to the new version, and then data stored going forward will have the new index structure?
Yeah, the new data will be stored with using the new logic. So new partition will be created, and the index will be in that partition. The old data is not migrated or converted or whatsoever. It is preserved as it was. So if you have this huge index already and you upgrade to this new version, the index won't go away. It would still be there for the retention period. And also, you could query the old data and the new data. The code can understand when it has to fall back. It is possible, it is expected that for a short period of time after deployment, the CPU utilization and memory will be higher because the new version should perform some one-time work. It is expected to be like some minutes or maybe tens of minutes, 10 or 15 minutes. So if you are not sure, you please add free resources before upgrading. But other than that, everything should go fine.
And if you really wanted to get rid of the old index structure, could you get creative with VM select and VMCTL and just migrate one storage node over at a time?
Yeah, if you don't want to wait until it goes by itself, then VMCTL and VM select, you have to migrate that data somehow, or backup and restore. Okay, the next feature is we are going to add GVT-based authentication to the VMhouse. It will be an open source feature available to the whole community. And once we have that feature, we will deprecate the VM gateway and migrate the users to the VMhouse. This is how the configuration might look like. So you configure some issuers. You can provide OEDC. We can fetch the public keys using the OEDC discovery. That will be possible. And then you can add the GVT token to the users. And this section will use the GVT authentication and pass users that authorized this way. Also, we have plans to add cluster native select API to the VM single. It will allow VM single to join cluster as a storage, and it should simplify the migration from the single to the storage. Because if you have single now, currently the data format, the storage format isn't compatible between single and cluster version, and the migration is not easy task to do. And with this feature, it will be as easy as to add, modify the flag with storage nodes and that single to that list.
And the difference between the single and the cluster version is the tenancy infos, the difference in data format, right? So the single node, because it's only single tenant, doesn't have to store the tenant information on disk. And that's the difference in VM storage versus single, right?
Yeah. And when you when your single joins the cluster, you configure what tenancy information it should be visible by or queried. So there will be this possibility. Also, we have this deployment schema. We promoted it for a long time. When you have several independent clusters with replication one, and then you have VM agent for that ingest the data to all of the clusters, and VMhouse that reads query all the clusters one by one. And when you want to update one of the clusters, let's say this green one, then you remove it from the VMhouse read path and you shut it down. The persistent queue on the VM agent would grow for this cluster. And once the deployment is finished, the cluster is back and ready to work. You should wait for VM agent persistent queue to drain. and then you have to add this cluster to the read path again, and then you can repeat these steps for another cluster. Currently, you have to do it manually or use Helm chart, but we are working on the distributed cluster custom resource. It will do what I've just said. So this custom resource will do that, but automatically. It will check the configured DVM mouse or take a look at the persistent queue and orchestrate all the parts. It looks promising. It should be useful in this kind of high availability setups, but on the other side, it is quite big, and there is a big discussion, and there is a lot of changes, so it might take some time to get it to the right shape and get it useful.
It's only 100,000 line diff. It's not that big.
Yeah, maybe. That's all I have.
Cool.
Mark, are we doing questions after every section, or?
We'll put them if they come up, but I think that, thank you guys. You covered a ton of information there. So I think there's what excites me most about this is just seeing that how much progression we've made, what's come out over the course of the year, and then getting a glimpse into the roadmap and what's coming up is pretty good. One thing I did want to mention though is while you were speaking, I did realize that metric is better than Imperial. And it's proven because we're VictoriaMetrics, not Victoria Imperial. So metrics win. So awesome. So guys, thank you so much. And if there are questions at the end, we're going to have the Q&A at the end as well. So just in the keeping time in mind, I want to thank you guys both for that. And I think our next speaker we will bring up on stage. So I will thank you very much, Matthias. Matthias, do you want to pull yourself off of there? I can't find you.
Sure thing.
Button. All right, Lauren, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us and sitting in and listening for the first bit of that. Real quick, can you tell what does Spotify do? I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah. So we're a listening company. So audio, podcasts, audiobooks, music, all that kind of stuff. Rap was not too long ago, as most people know. So
yeah. Well, I was just thinking about that as some of the metrics that you guys are collecting have built up what's in my wrap that I got, where I went, did I really spend that much time on these podcasts? It's pretty thrilling. So yeah, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today about VictoriaMetrics, your journey. I know that you've got a great presentation coming up, so I'll let you at that. Unless there's anything you want to say before, I will mute myself once you get going and then ask some questions as they come up, or how would you like that?
Yeah, I'm ready to go with the slides. Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and I will mute myself. Take it away.
Thanks. So hi, everyone. I'm Loren, the engineering manager for observability at Spotify. Today I'm here to share how we use VictoriaMetrics to operate observability at scale. Over the years, our metrics needs have grown dramatically, and we've gone through a major transition from an in-house time series database to a scalable solution built around VictoriaMetrics. So I'll walk you through why we made this change, what we learned, and what results we're seeing. So before adopting VictoriaMetrics, we relied on an in-house time series database built many years ago. It was closed source, it was aging, it was open source for a bit, but mostly closed source, aging and becoming difficult to maintain. As Spotify scaled, so did its pain points. Queries became slow, there were frequent timeouts, and overall our users were getting pretty frustrated. The observability ecosystem around us was evolving quickly, and yet we were stuck on limited feature parity and increasing KTLO. So it became clear that maintaining the system was more expensive than replacing it at that point. So when searching for a replacement, we focused on 5 key pillars: performance, cost efficiency, low maintenance overhead, compatibility with industry standard tooling, and scalability. Prometheus and Grafana compatibility was also essential because we wanted teams to utilize standard open source workflows, And we also needed something with a strong community and an active development cycle.
So how did you guys come across VictoriaMetrics, Lauren? Were you somebody in the organization already using it, or just curious of that? How you?
Honestly, it just kind of came up in our search. I think our product manager at the time was familiar with it. And it kind of got on our list of, companies to evaluate, and we just kind of ran with it from there.
Awesome. Great. Thanks.
Yeah. So for our benchmark, VictoriaMetrics demonstrated standout performance for us. It handled 78 million data points per second, which exceeded our internal target of 50 million. The architecture was simple and predictable. We had built-in retention and downsampling controls. We also liked that enterprise licensing was clear and transparent, which was important for us when operating at our scale. The other vendors we kind of looked at the time, some became unstable at a fraction of this workload or required additional compromises like query proxies or missing remote write.
Okay. And were those sort of things like disqualifiers right away when you saw something was tipping over like super early? Just okay.
Yeah, there was one example in particular where we load tested it and broke it, I think, 2 or 3 times, and then kind of moved on. So, it was great to see the performance here.
Yeah. Oh, there must have been some people on the other end that were trying to help you guys discover their tools that were quite sad to hear that certain things weren't holding up.
Yeah, I mean, I think the industry is moving kind of quickly, so these were like newer tools as well. So I'm sure like things have changed over time, but at the time it was clear that y'all were ahead.
Well, that's it. I think it's great too to hear that, even an organization of your size and such a mature team is still looking to see what's new and out there and discovering new tools. Like you took the chance to discover VictoriaMetrics and it worked out. So I think that's a great sign for the industry that, just because there are existing solutions doesn't mean that you can't make something that'll be adopted by many people. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, totally. So now I'll go a little bit into the architecture overview and how we use VictoriaMetrics. So there's a diagram in the next slide, which is a little prettier, but here's how the data flows into our environment. So metrics arrive through VM agent, go through VM auth, and then into VM insert, VM storage. And then we also have queries that go through VM auth and VM select as well. We store our data regionally, so that improves ingest reliability and local performance. And then we run our queries globally, so engineers can view metrics across all regions. And then for alerting, we adopted VM Alert, which gives us scale and consistency that we needed for our alerting. And I will share the pretty picture now. So this is the diagram that kind of threw it together, so it's not like color coded, but so this shows our A and B deployments and how they mirror each other. Each region has its own VM insert and VM storage cluster, ensuring isolation and reliability. At the top sits VM Select Global, which lets us query metrics across regions. The model balances latency, durability, and operational simplicity for us. And then VM Agent provides resilient metric shipping, while VM Auth centralizes authentication and authorization.
That's awesome. Question, was there anything that you guys learned or you folks learned during the deployment that surprised you about what your architecture ended up looking like versus what you might have thought you guys were going to be looking at?
Nothing particular on top of mind. Originally, we didn't have this like A and B setup. We just had like one basically kind of deployment, so like half of this picture. And then we wanted a bit more like resiliency. So then we kind of ended up moving to this model, which was relatively easy. We just had to kind of have both for a little bit. And then we were able to just kind of undeploy some extra stuff and ended up here.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. And I guess one thing we changed over time, we weren't using VM auth at first, and then we were able to plug that in. So that also helped us kind of decrease our footprint and just rely on that. Cool. So next we can go into alerting. One area where we saw a huge improvement with alerting, we moved to VM Alert and then paired it with some internal tooling that we built. So they're called MMA and Alert Plumber. Our alert rules all live in GCS, which keeps them versioned and consistent. And then Grafana is read-only for our rule definitions, so that eliminates drift, so you can't really like edit things in that UI. So the result was much faster and reliable alert evaluation across thousands of services. This was like a big pain point for our users at the time, so it was really nice to see a lot of like speed and reliability improvements here.
Awesome. Is there anything still on your wish list for alerting that, Alex and everyone is listening in intently that you guys would like to see on the wish list for alerting?
I mean, so far so good. Like the reliability and speed were kind of the big things for us. Like we've been really happy with kind of the changes here because before I would say like alerting was quite a bit slower because of the query time. So
yeah, awesome.
And then, yeah, so our overall wins after the migration, the teams immediately felt the difference. Dashboard and query times were 10 times faster or more, which drastically improved debugging and on-call workflows. Alerting became more reliable. We no longer needed pre-aggregation, so our data accuracy improved. And we also unlocked access to the broader Prometheus and open source ecosystem, including OTel. And importantly, we also had a significant cost savings from moving our infrastructure over and reduced operational overhead.
Well, that's a pretty serious list of great things there. And I imagine the one that's not there is that the overall stress has gone down, I'm sure, on the whole team who has to manage these things and look at it. So seems like there's kind of a win for everybody in there, which is nice to hear.
Yeah, when we talk about improved on-call workflows, our teams was definitely a big one. Yeah, I mean, we had inherited this from a different team, so there was just a lot of like life cycles of us like adjusting alerts and having a lot that we were worrying about. And now we kind of share our on-call with some folks at VM too that like y'all help us out in Slack. So that's awesome.
Awesome. Sounds like we might have to send your team some VictoriaMetrics pajamas as well then.
I think they'd appreciate it.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, and then just to wrap things up, some highlights. So we chose VictoriaMetrics for its performance, efficiency, and scalability. Its PromQL compatibility aligned us with industry standard tooling. It integrates cleanly with OTel, Prometheus, Grafana, and the deployment model is flexible enough to evolve as our needs grow. So overall, it's been a really reliable foundation for observability at Spotify. And yeah, thanks for listening. That's all I had slide-wise.
Yeah, that's awesome, though. That's great coverage, really. Thank you so much. It was really neat to hear that. One question I do have, and if you can't answer it, let me know. But I'm curious, is there anything that you or anyone on the team was particularly surprised by that turned out really well with the migration to this, where maybe even question, like, are we looking at this right? Like from a performance or results standpoint?
I mean, I think when we were just kind of looking at the performance, we never really hit a snag, which I think might be the surprising thing is like, I think going into it, we weren't sure if our scale would work with anyone in particular. So kind of like not really hitting too many road bumps there was great. Like our biggest challenge was really going from a custom query language to Prometheus, but that was a win too, right? Because now we're on a standard language where people don't have to come in and like learn a whole new query language, learn a custom thing that you'll only use at one place. And it is much more streamlined, much more documentation there. So that was great.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great to hear. Well, thank you again so much. We have also shared a case study of your story on our blog. So anyone wants to see it, it's at VictoriaMetrics.com on our blog. It's the one that's showcased. So I definitely encourage anyone to read it. And maybe we'll have it on a podcast that you'll be able to listen to on Spotify soon. So
Nice.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'll just check it. Doesn't look like any questions came in, but if there are any, we'll try to address them down the road. But thank you again.
Cool. Thank you. Have a good one.
You as well. All right. And I believe up next, my screen has just changed. So I am going to say it is Fred is coming up here. Hey, Fred, how are you?
Hi, Mark. I'm pretty good.
Good. You got a
What
tough
about
act
you?
to follow, Fred.
Yeah, after such great case study,
Yeah, it was
tough time for me.
Yeah, for sure.
But nevertheless, this quarter is better than previous because the streaming platform is so generous to let me in. So Matthias won't need to jump in instead of me. So I'm here to present, and that's good.
Well,
Hi, everyone, and thanks for having me here. My name is Fred. I'm leading VictoriaMetrics Anomaly detection team, or simply VM Anomaly. And who don't know what VM Anomaly stands for, it's an anomaly detection component, and it's a part of our neat enterprise offering. So here I will try to quickly wrap up what year it was for VM Anomaly as a team and as a product. And also I'll share the presentation format. This time it will be more interactive. So I will demo you Playgrounds, I will demo you MCP server. Hopefully everything works as expected. So here is a small agenda where I will recap first 3 quarters, and then I highlight what was done in Q4 and what is still work in progress. And also I'll share some future plans for the next year. So this year was kind of productive for us with a lot of user feedback and with a lot of resolving of user feedback. So we got 18 releases. We have introduced horizontal scalability and high availability to our service. So right now it can be sharded and it can have some redundancy for more reliable setups. Also, we introduced and finished stateful mode arc. Right now, where Anomaly can retain its state and it doesn't have to retrain the models or requires data once it's shut down and once you have some outage. So after restart, it will catch up with what's fresh and what's stored. Also, we support config quad reloading, which is obviously best paired with stateful deployments. So as long as you want to delete different model or to add a new model or to change something in your scheduling, you can do it in a hot reload mode, and what can be retained will be retained, and what should be added will be added as a new job. Also, we added support for VM Anomaly in our VM Kubernetes operator. Also, we improved how dry run for VM Anomaly works. Right now, it supports not only config check at runtime time, which doesn't require license, but it also supports migration checkup. So once you have some version which you're staying on, and once you want to check what version you want to migrate to, it will also do a config checkup and highlight what models will you lose or what should be done, like training from scratch. So it simplifies your experience, and it also is your migration path. Also, we introduced forecasting mode for capacity planning and similar use cases for some of the models like Profit. And also we added to previously existing Grafana dashboard for self-monitoring of VM Anomaly as a service. We also introduced Grafana dashboard for anomaly exploration. So once you have your VM Anomaly service set up and running, it produces anomaly scores, which you use for alerting. And then you can use this dashboard for not creating everything from scratch on your own, but as a starting point to get global view and local view of how it operates and what type of anomalies did it find. So for that, we have dedicated guide, and also it's present in Grafana Cloud, so you can import it by ID.
So it looks like you've made, sorry, real quick, Fred, it looks like there's been improvements then across sort of all areas, right? From core functionality, performance, security, visualization. So it's sort of...
I'm not mentioning here the bug fixing and improvements like internal speedups, internal optimizations. It's all neat features that are included behind the scenes. And for Q4, we have also quite a few things to highlight. First of all, we have introduced graphical user interface, which is VM UI-like for VM Anomaly service. So you can simplify the backtesting procedure of anomaly detection models. You can run backtesting schedulers on your data. You can query the data. You can set up alerting rules. You can see the demo of how it will perform in your live session once you set it in production scheduling. And also now we have VM Anomaly in our own page, which has a change log for UI, and we already made 4 additional releases after initial release with a lot of user feedback. And some of this I will demo in a minute. Also, we added a reader to get metrics metrics converted data from respective VictoriaLogs and VictoriaTraces endpoints, which are stats query range. So you can actually run a subset of LogSQL language to query your metrics or traces data to convert those into metrics and fed it into VM Anomaly. So it's both supported in plain VM Anomaly deployments and also in UI, which you can play with, by the way, and I will demo it in 2 minutes. Also, we added a runtime migration and compatibility metrics and respective guides of how to upgrade, what is compatible, what is incompatible in between the versions of VM Anomaly. So we have respective page and respective guide for that, and also runtime migration at VM Anomaly startup time. The recent addition was to release MCP server for VM Anomaly. So it's now a part of our community repo of our community project. So it will allow you AI assistants interacting with VM Anomaly, and soon enough it will be added to UI, so you can interact with UI with the help of chat-like AI assistant.
Fred, on that one, I'm just curious on where that came from. Like I know integrating with the MCP server is something that's neat, but just wondering, was that something that was driven by internally our side, or did we see outside requests for that? And what are some of the use cases? Because me, I'm all over. Every time I see MCP, I get excited. So just curious to drill into that.
Yes, so thanks for your interest. Actually, we have both requests, like from internal perspective and from roadmap perspective, and from what the field show us, and also from our user perspective, who really find difficult to fine-tune some of the models or to interact with documentation or to check up with our teams of how to do this and that. So it should drastically improve the experience and speed up the experience of setting up a proper VM anomaly deployments. And in a couple of minutes, I will show how it can be interacted with. And also, it was a natural continuation step after our team released a lot of MCP servers for our products, like MCP for VictoriaMetrics, VictoriaLogs, and VictoriaTraces. So why not do it for VM Anomaly? And we slightly redesigned our internal roadmap, so we support similar direction for VM Anomaly. And small spoiler for next week, we'll try to unite all the MCP resources into more user-friendly tool to interact with our whole stack, not only VM Anomaly or not only VictoriaMetrics. So it will be a better and more deep integration in between of all our tools, databases, and components. So fingers crossed for the next year. It will be a great year for synergy. And also, as Matthias highlighted, we released public playground for VM Anomaly for both metrics and logs data sources, and I will demo it in a minute. What else? Let me spend a couple of seconds here in UI. So right now we have it, and that was a good addition to what VM Anomaly offers. And unfortunately, we have to postpone it for quite a while, but finally it's here in Q4. So right now it also supports for parameterized alerting rule generation. So it's more integrated with what you'd expect for anomaly detection. So you not only tune anomaly detection models, but you can also see and generate what VM alert rule to follow. Also, it's quite simple to use wizard-like config selector, not only plain YAML editing. And also, based on recent feedback, we added UX improvements like serious sorting by labels and stats, which I personally miss in VictoriaMetrics UI. And also, we added consecutive anomaly support, which is basically once VM anomaly highlights some point as not only anomalous at this particular point, but also present in time, like n consecutive time points instead of one, and everything else is hidden. So you kindly imitate what you'll get in alerting side.
And I think you forgot to mention my hobby horse with VM Anomaly UI, and that's authentication.
Yeah, but we also support VMOs like authentication, and that can add more of this.
Yeah, I believe the way it works is that you can pass the header that you signed into VM Anomaly with to the data source itself. So most organizations that are using VM Anomaly require everything to be encrypted and authenticated at all times. And VM Anomaly just lets you recycle the authorization header that you requested to VM Anomaly. So that way, even though there's no like RBAC or like full-blown full-blown dashboarding tool inside of VM Anomaly, there's still some level of security and access control while still keeping VM Anomaly stateless, so it's easy to scale.
Yeah, thanks for your addition. And a bit before I do some testing and share my screen with you, I also want to finish the presentation. So I want to share it back and forth. A couple of slides remaining. And as I mentioned, we released our MCP server as a part of our VictoriaMetrics community project. So in its current state, it's allow assistant-based support for anomaly installations. So it supports your health monitoring, it supports your model management, it can check, generate, and validate your model configurations. It can set up example alerting rules based on your context. It also can check your migration and compatibility based on context that you provide, so you can imitate read run. And also it can search for text in our documentation based on VM Anomaly, what we have in our public documentation. So it will really simplify your interaction with the product. What's still work in progress and probably will be moved to Q1. It's obviously MCP server post-release feedback resolution and improvements. So it's going more towards agentic mode, not only assistant mode. So we'll improve our system prompts, resources, and tools. We'll add new. Also, we are work in progress for online profit model, which will combine flexibility and resource efficiency. So it will be adapted to new data without retraining, and it will have less resources spent on both querying and on both storage on disk or in memory. And some highlights for 2026. I believe it will be a synergy year and will heavily contribute to convenience of use and unified observability. And some of the direction to follow is to work on agentic mode for VM Anomaly. So it's not only assistant, but also an agent being capable of doing anomaly detection on your behalf. Also, we plan to add chat-like interaction inside VM Anomaly UI, so you do not have to leave UI perimeter to query MCP server and to query our endpoints and to test the configs. So it's for lazy guys like me who don't want to click too much. You just type in some text or use your voice and interact with UI, and the state is changing. Also, we'll integrate with VictoriaMetrics Cloud. Unfortunately, it has to be postponed to the next year. Also, we'll support, instead of supporting some static presets, we'll just support one of dynamic preset mode with metric subset discovery. So once you have some metadata or once you have some metrics name present in your VictoriaMetrics installation, we can query those on your behalf and suggest some dynamic configs to run anomaly detection. Also, we will contribute to root cause analysis for assisted causal incident drill downs. Currently, it's more about anomaly detection. So we'll go from POC mode to generally available root cause analysis. And also, we'll put our efforts into unification of observability layer, as I stated previously. So it will be cross-MCP interaction, more simplification towards how user interact with our whole stack. So it's not just VictoriaMetrics MCP or VM Anomaly MCP, but it's something more united. So you just type in your high-level question and you get high-level detailed answer.
And when
also,
you say
anomaly detection for logs and traces, we'll do a POC for those. Currently, it's only supported on metrics transformed data, but we also want to play with full text and graph-like structure of traces.
And anomaly detection for logs works today, correct? It's just it requires the stats pipe basically, and you're looking for text-based anomaly, correct?
Right. So we have introduced it in Q4. So you have respective reader, which I will demo in a minute for that. So let me probably share my screen with different tabs.
And can I ask, while you're pulling that up, one more question about VictoriaMetrics Cloud and VM Anomaly? VM Anomaly, you can self-host VM Anomaly today and use it with a VictoriaMetrics Cloud data source, correct? When you say integration with cloud, you mean that you can run VM Anomaly inside of VictoriaMetrics Cloud rather than self-host. Is that what you mean?
Like it'll be a feature in VictoriaMetrics Cloud. It will be sort of anomaly detection will be there versus having to have it as an external resource.
Yeah. What I was telling is that it will be a feature parity between on-prem enterprise and what cloud offers. So right now, a cloud offering doesn't integrate VM Anomaly in its internals. So it should be spawned aside of cloud. So obviously it can reach cloud. For that, it just needs some endpoints to read and to write from, probably some authentication, and that's it. But it will be more convenient for our cloud users to have it inside the perimeter without the need to do any manual steps. Yeah. Can someone delete my presentation or unstage it?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I can.
And Fred, when you were talking about using voice, I just pictured a SRE sitting back, looking up at the screen, talking to the VictoriaMetrics MCP server. What's happening on my holodeck?
Yes, so let me share it tab by tab first.
Mark, you realize the second that it's able to do that, it's going to say, "I'm sorry, Dave, I cannot merge that."
That's right, or it'll open my airlock. Are you sharing your screen, Fred? Okay, here you go. Let me add that to stage.
Yeah, so let me see what's shared. Yeah, so based on data source, it's metrics. So for some reason you can't see the URL, but I will share it in a minute. Or so someone on my behalf, please share it in chat or in translation. So this is a play, vmanomaly.victoriametrics.com/metrics, and we have two separate endpoints which works for different data sources. So this one works for metrics on our playground. So here we have vmanomaly, vmui like UI, where you can set up your queries, where you can execute queries to get some data. And once it's good enough for you to play with, then you can set up, you can choose from different models, which are built into vmanomaly. You can use wizard-like config tool to select it, to validate it. And once you're okay, you can hit detect anomalies. And once it's there, you can explore different visualizations, like different metrics, which it exposes, like the real data it sees, predictions, some confidence boundaries around it, found anomalies. And also you can see what's grouped by query, like you can see better to see in table view. So you can see amount of anomalies out of all the points, percentage of anomalies found, all the metrics and label sets. And also here it's not so obvious how it works, but for different tab I will show you how the sorting works as well. And also we integrated, based on feedback, we integrated the config which is produced. So later on you can either copy model only or full vmanomaly configuration into YAML file. So you can either download it or copy it and spawn vmanomaly installation on top of it. Also, you can see example vim alert group and rule that are generated by your UI state. So you can also copy paste it into your alerting setup. Also, what I was mentioning is that we added streaks mode. So as long as you are not interested in high enough but single data points, you can turn it on. And you can configure how much do you want for streaks. So let me see it as one. So you can see, no, sorry, that's for two. For two, it will be a new series added. So you can see new label added, like streaks equals to 0. So you can also sort based on this to filter the most anomalous streak-based time series.
Is the streaks we're looking for repetitive nature of like a streak of a particular anomaly going, so we don't, if it just fires once,
it's basically a consecutive anomaly, so something weird happens for quite a while. So for example, it's not self-resolving in 2 minutes or 4 minutes or 5 minutes based on what you needed. And also when you configure streaks and based on your step interval, which is your data resolution, so basically example alert rule should be changed to include this 4 parameter equals to 10. So it's 2 points multiplied by 5 minutes. Yeah. So it's 10 minutes or 600 seconds. So this is it, and you can play with it on play.vmanomaly.victoriametrics.com. This is for metrics. The same exact thing is for logs. So let me reshare. Where it is? Share screen. Tab, probably this is it. Yeah, so you can see that.
Is that the right one that's on stage, Fred? Is that, I'm just making sure, is this the correct Anomaly Explorer that I'm showing?
Yes, that is correct.
Yes, it's VictoriaLogs based on data source. So here you can type in subset of logs QL and use a stats pipe to get your logs transformed into metrics to be able to run anomaly detection on metrics. So here data source is frozen, the same for other metrics and point on our playground. So you don't need to reset it up back and forth. Instead, you just need to hit /logs or /metrics, put to our playground URL. So here it's the same way, exactly the same way as you work with metrics, but the data source is different, it's logs. So you can execute the query, you can see some results. You can see respective label set, if any. Here I'm just grouping it by by everything else that I have. So the same experience should be get here as you have it in metrics.
So that's a place where I'm just thinking you could have on your logs anomaly detection, looking for, let's say, anomalous login attempts that have failed, right? Could that be an example of it where it's something that, what does anomalous mean? I don't know, but the algorithm does. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, or you can track amount of specific log level over time. So once you have bumps in your warnings or logs as a time series, you can also get notified. Everything else about 404 codes or something except 200 code received. So and basically on everything that should be converted to metrics and has some meaningful nature when converted to metrics.
Yeah. And there are still some applications that don't have a good like metrics exporter built in. And sometimes it's easier just to use recording rules and logs queries than it is to add that instrumentation yourself. So like if you're using Nginx or Apache HTTPD, setting up metrics for those can be a bit trickier than something like Caddy or like Traffic. So sometimes it's easier just to use the default logs and then use recording rules to synthesize metrics and use VM Anomaly to track anomalies for that, rather than like build something yourself that adds those metrics or use the existing open source tooling for that.
That's bringing up pre-PTSD for me for building my home lab for Matthias and I's next tech talk is home lab for the holidays. And let's say what you just said and all the alerting, it scares me. That's cool, Fred. This is
the last thing left from my side is to demo VictoriaMetrics anomaly detection MCP server, which will require like a couple of minutes. So can you please reshare my tab?
There you are, Fred.
Yeah, so let me go back to my VS Code. So here I installed it as a Go application and used inside VS Code editor. So in chat-like behavior, I can reference its tools and resources to find out specifics of my VM anomaly installation or to get some suggestions for the config, for the validations of that config. So I've pre-made a couple of questions, so we don't spend too much time once AI generates answers. So here, for example, you can just simply check what version of VM Anomaly you're running. So it hits respective endpoint of VM Anomaly, which is available in tools, and just get some output and renders it to you. So currently I'm using the latest version of VM Anomaly with the latest version of VM UI. So it's more convenient for you to know what are you using. Later on, you can check up and generate, for example, some VM alert-based alerting rule referencing VM Anomaly. And what's good, you can see what endpoints are used, what tools are used, what resources are used. So inside, you get the input, you get the output, and you get what's rendered. So here, for example, it generates me an example group with one alerting rule for VM Anomaly, which is based on anomaly score, with some labels, with some annotations, with correct expression, with some default alerting rule name, and also with side suggestions of what to do with it to improve. Also, here is some more documentation-based request, like how can a user incorporate domain knowledge into VM Anomaly models, what is supported in VM Anomaly. So it hits different endpoints, like get model schema or run our documentation, to end up with some domain improvements that VM Anomaly supports. For example, you can support on model level argument named detection direction when you're interested more in spikes or drops or post direction based on the metric profile that you have and the anomaly types that you want to catch. Also, it highlighted that we have data range for minimal and maximum, both for query checks and for automated anomaly detection if moved outside of that expected range. Also, it provided some of the examples for config chunks, as well as when you are not interested in smaller anomalies, so you can set up minimal deviation from expected on model side, and with some examples, with some comments. So it's good enough. The same for scale. Once you are satisfied with the behavior, but you want to decrease or increase the size of confidence interval for what your model supports as normal data points. You can also play with it. So it kind of good response. And also it supported a config validation tool. So here, for example, I pasted incorrect model config and asked what's wrong with it. So afterwards, it ran get model schema endpoint to get what's wrong after validation. So it found out that I incorrectly sorted the quantiles for the model and how it should be in a correct way. Like here, I set up scale parameter to be in a negative value, which is wrong. And what's less obvious, it's also schema valid, but not okay from business perspective. Like you define a seasonal interval and minimal subseason, which is not a divisor of your seasonal interval. So the buckets are uneven. So it also cached it and produced a fully valid config with some examples and suggestions. Also, you can check what's been run in your VictoriaMetrics installation, which is connected by MCP by exposing the anomaly endpoint, and whether it's running okay, and whether there are some model run errors or model run skipped, or some models with problems. So it hits metrics endpoint of VictoriaMetrics anomaly detection and check up whether everything's okay, like VM anomaly health check returns okay. There are no model errors or model skipped in total, no model errors, no model skipped. What models are actually running, you can also see what's there. Also some suggestions. So here it's more obvious question about model types and schedulers which are currently running. So it returns based on metrics endpoint what's there, like how much of this and what different types are there, how many schedulers do I have in my demo deployment, and some of the label sets associated with it. Also, here I asked more deep example of how you can suggest me some config for setting up anomaly detection for CPU utilization with some default domain expertise that should be incorporated, with some highlights and questions about how it can be efficient enough with that trends and seasonalities. So it hit multiple endpoints and multiple doc section. And after all, it suggested me a proper model, which is online quantile, which is online model and is really tiny and is being able to fit in and to infer with new data points. Also with a good config, which is valid. So it's fully valid VM anomaly config, which you can copy, paste, and run VM anomaly instance on top of it. Also with some neat comments. So here is basically how you can use the first iteration of VM anomaly MCP server.
So Fred, did you do all this work so you would have to stop answering my questions about VM anomaly during work hours?
Fortunately, I have other teammates that supports me in this direction, and a big thanks for them for making it happen. And also big thanks to Alex Marshalov for doing the overall start in this direction, so we can follow with MCPs, and we're really great here. And we definitely follow into bigger observability picture with the use of all our MCPs. So our users benefit from unified observability layer on top of it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the greatest parts is, we're using MCP and some AI, but it's not the product, right? We continue to build an amazing core product, and these are ways that you can just access that information easier or in a different fashion. So I love it that we're not selling an MCP server. We're selling a different way to get access to, as demonstrated in Lauren's talk, a really cool system. So super. That's great. Anything else to show on this, Fred? Or is that?
No, I believe I already spent too much of our time, so we need to catch up a little bit. And thanks for listening.
Yeah. Well,
for
hey,
you
Fred.
And for our listeners on YouTube.
Yeah.
So once Fred, you have some questions, feel free to ask.
Yeah, there's never enough Fred time. Trust me, you're always. It's always great to have these conversations with you. So thank you for sharing that. I don't see any more questions coming in. Again, if they do, if anybody does have any questions about Fred's topic or anyone else's, we can answer them live, or at the end we'll have a Q&A session. So once again, Fred, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I think, Matthias, I'll bump you guys. And next up is going to be Jose. Where are you, Jose? Hey, there you are. How are you?
Somewhere over here.
Whoa. Did anybody else? You sounded like a robot there. Anyone else hear that?
Am I okay?
I can't tell if it's. Oh yeah, you are. You sound like you have a voice changer on where it's a modulator. Yeah.
Try refreshing your browser, Jose. So just like refresh the browser window and come back. I think all your presentation should stick around.
It should. It's all in the cloud. It has to be, right? The fun of live streams. So once he comes back in. So who can we bring up here? Who am I going to throw on to entertain while we wait here? Alex, you get to fill in. You get to fill in while we wait for Jose to come back. Tell me something new and exciting.
Yeah, there are exciting news about VictoriaLogs. I'll share them in the VictoriaLogs presentation.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, we just got Jose back. I'm gonna bounce you. Sorry, Alex. Yeah, we got Jose just came back up, but we'll definitely have you come back in. I was just using you for famous airtime coverage. We'll be back. Oh. Jose, sorry about that, and sorry, Alex. I didn't know how long Jose was going to be gone, so I thought I'd bring Alex up. I was going to pepper him with some questions while we were waiting for you to come back, but you refreshed fast.
Am I a robot anymore?
Well, you don't sound like a robot, but we are not sure if you are a robot or not, Jose. So
that's good enough.
We'll check that.
Okay.
Turing test.
Sorry for that. I don't know. Maybe it was the browser being open so much time. Sorry for that.
No problem at all, man. Hey, that always happens. So you've been the busiest guy in cloud in a while here. So we're excited to hear what's new and what you've been working on and what's coming down the road here. So yeah, maybe if you just want another quick, I know you introduced yourself at the very start, but if you just want a real quick intro as well to you now, would be awesome.
Okay, sure. Yeah. I work in VictoriaMetrics Cloud as product lead, and working with a great team. They are doing very cool things, and I'm so grateful that it's so easy for me to present these things, be comfortable, because I know things are great. So it's otherwise I would need to be inventing, And even yesterday, Alex Marshallov was saying, you know what? I added this bunch of other features overnight. So we're gonna talk about them as well. And also, I want the audience to be paying attention, because there is an Easter egg here in the console. Maybe it's very evident for everyone, but let's see.
What is the prize for the person who finds it, Jose?
I'm glad you asked that question. The prize is 200 credits in VictoriaMetrics Cloud. You just need to sign up. No credit card required. Okay.
And you know what I think you should do to make it fair? Even for those who don't find the Easter egg, they should get that $200 credit at VictoriaMetrics trial.
I will work with the engineering team. I don't know if we can make that happen, but yeah, let's see.
Awesome. We'll take it away, Jose.
Right. Okay, so thanks. So many things, I will go over them, so I will not stop here, just a quick summary. So let's start with the beginning, new tiers. We just published a blog post talking about this. We were trying to fix some changes that we had in our tiers in VictoriaMetrics single. Right, are super easy and straightforward, and are super good if you want to use like a lot of metrics, but maybe you don't have that much budget. They are great in that direction. But maybe I don't know if we can see my mouse. So maybe when you wanted to scale and move to more and more capacity in terms of active time series, the capacity, let's say, or the compute units that we were providing were not going accordingly. So the reasons is, as you scale, you start doing things and you need to make changes here and there. And then when you take a look in a couple of years, you say, okay, this needs to be straight. Right? Yep. So that's what we did. And to do that, what we did was making a lot of benchmarks. again, like the team has been putting a lot of effort here, and also based on users' feedback, right? So we have a list of many parameters that you can think like, okay, I have this churn rate, maybe a lot of churn rate, but I don't ingest that much. So you can find yourself in this table and say, maybe this tier is good for me. Of course, the good thing is that you can scale up or down, so you can always on the go within seconds, I would say, try, okay, this may be a better instance for me, right? So
are you able to scale down and up like midstream? Like if I'm just wondering from just curiosity from a usage standpoint, if I've provisioned a bunch more because I've got tons of metrics coming in for my Black Friday sales. And after that, if I want to scale down some of my metrics and now it's partway through the month, I just slide a lever. Or how does that work? How do I scale?
Sure, you can do that. Especially with singles, what you cannot do is with the storage, you would need to migrate data, maybe. But that's why we also, for cost savings, we always recommend our users to don't overcommit your storage.
Yeah.
But in terms of tiers, yeah, you can go up and down without any trouble.
That's awesome. And no, it's a great sign to see too that we've taken all the data from our users and from our disparate knowledge and went, hey, let's retool what these packages look like to make it more accessible. So
yeah, actually, and as I will show now, one of the other outcomes of this is that the pricing now is progressive and makes more sense, right? There is also, I will share that in a second, but also we, since the beginning, we changed, meaning that we started also to learn about resiliency, about how to support better our customers. And we understood that we needed a set of backups. So we just scaled the number of backups we provide. Now we are in 3+1, meaning like we provide 3, but plus the one that is rolling. That means, and we didn't update the prices. So it meant that we needed to fix that. And that happened as well. All of this is explained in the blog post. But then I was thinking, and I was doing this myself, like, okay, but what about the cost? Like, is this going to be too much? I don't know. I was concerned, right? And then two things here. If right now this makes more sense if you look at the purple line in this case. As you need more and more active time series or you scale, the price now is steady, right? And maybe some tier may be a bit more expensive depending on your retention, because we are talking about disk, right? But overall, it just makes sense. Or some of them are even cheaper, right? So it's really making sense out of it.
Smoother and a lot more predictable too, right? Like you can look at that and know where it's going to go versus am I at a cliff that's coming up?
Totally. But and then I was like, but is this too much? I don't know. And then I was comparing with Observability cloud vendor that offers by default 13 months in retention, and comparing like for a year on ourselves. And I said, okay, I think our users can save a lot of money. Again, what I want to say is every platform is different. Every model, even price model, is different. So I encourage users to try it by themselves or to experiment and see the pricing models. But I haven't seen anyone telling like, no, you're expensive.
Yeah. Well, here's a sidebar oddball question, and I don't know if you'll have an answer for this or a thought on it, but with the current situation in the world, with RAM being more valuable than anything. I know that if you go to buy, a consumer goes to buy RAM, we're paying exponentially more today. That also is getting out to the cloud provider world, right? Like obviously their costs of acquiring RAM are going to go up. So to me, that would indicate that as providers' cost of RAM is going up, if I'm using a heavily RAM dependent and compute dependent metric system or observability platform, my costs are going to go up too. Where with us, we're sort of hedged against the RAM problems because of the huge reduction in that VictoriaMetrics and VictoriaMetrics Cloud requires for RAM for these situations. Is that
Yeah, well, as a famous physicist said, it's very hard to make predictions, especially about the future. But the thing, what I know is that the reason why we are cost effective is because we are efficient, and that means if it will only make this even bigger, this difference even bigger. I don't know if they will both be up, but what I know is that both will. The difference will be bigger. Totally.
That'll be an interesting thing to track, I think. That's just a gain where our requirements are so much lower that they become, like you say, is that much more valuable. So, right.
Yep. So all of this is in the blog, in the documentation, all of that. But I also wanted to mention, like, we try to improve the way to present this to customers to make it more clear based on also questions that we get from time to time. So right now, like how much data you're going to send, how much data you're going to read, just as orientation. You just pick from the ladder. And this is the amount that you will pay because of computing. This is the amount that you will pay because of storage. And then a super small amount comparison-wise for networking. And then you just know your cost, right? And again, this is from our benchmarked cases. If you are crazy reading a lot, but you're not saving a lot of data, maybe you are okay in one of those that are smaller. It really depends, right? So they are just really, it's not quotas like, oh, you are reading more now, it will charge you $1,000 million. No, it's like, okay, if it fits, it's okay. If you don't want to scale, it's okay, right? You just...
so it's nice that you've also broken out or decoupled the retention and storage from the capacity tiering here, because those, I know some providers bake those in, so it's you have to pick like an option group, where this is nice that you can say, hey, I have a high number of active time series, but I need to store them for less time. Like the way you're breaking the price out it's nice to see.
Yeah, and we're always open for feedback, so we will iterate. But what I know is that we have a great team again, and the design here has been wonderful. So yeah. Also, so that was for single version. For cluster, another thing we learned is that it's important, or it was important for us that we understood that every cluster is so different. You have different components. Every customer is so different. Everybody is using it differently. So it wouldn't really make sense for now to just put there a bunch of tiers in this case, or these boxes, so to say, because it's not, if you dedicate RAM for VM select, but you don't dedicate it for insert, that can be good for some cases, but not for others. So we really need to tune. And for that, what we have decided is to just tell people, hey, let's make a 1 week POC, let's work together, and then we will give you, we will tune a deployment for you, right?
Getting rid of a lot of the guesswork then, right? So when people do want to do that POC, they're partnering with somebody on the VictoriaMetrics cloud team to help them with that tuning. Is that the...
Yeah,
or that's available. It's not required, but it is available, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just about that, and then things will go smoothly. Like, okay, now we are going to scale. We need more resources. Then they know transparently what's the price of the resources. And this is ongoing. This part of maybe showing it. We are working on that. We just focused on the singles. Next quarter, we're going to focus on the cluster. But right now, we have this form to people to give us all the information they like, and we will just work with them. But yeah, my commitment is we will do this for a week. We will not take more time, unless you need it. Right? If you need it, we can discuss. But it should not take more than a week.
That's right. Yeah. So in the end of a week of this, somebody will be able to see not just A, is it working, but B, get some real idea of sizing and pricing too, because it's real world data they're POCing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Totally. So more things. I came last quarter being very happy about a new region in Asia. And I don't know if you heard, there was this outage in AWS lately. but we were missing the party because we were not in that region. So we decided to be there with all our friends. No, just kidding. We had requests from customers, and as I have been saying lately, if anybody has a request, just tell us and we will open it for you. Of course, we will need you to use it a bit, right? Some deployments, just not. But yeah, so we are now open for business in North Virginia as well, which is US East 1, which is the default region, and that's why it's so crowded. Of course, I may not recommend you to be there, like choose one, but if it's closer to you, of course, do that. And also, it was a good one to unlock a private link in this case, and so forth. Yeah. So it's been. Let's see what the future brings with this one. So let's continue now more into product features. And in this case, I will try to speed up. We have been working a lot in adding notifications group. One of the things or some questions we get from time to time was like the problem is that we are working with metrics. So people won't think about metrics and they see notifications. Maybe you think this is alerts, but there are other kind of notifications. Some of them they are. So what we decided is to provide different groups, notification groups, and some people were also, even internally, we had these chats like, guys, why do I get an email every time you make a deployment? I say, you are right. So what we did is defining these groups that you can add people or remove them. You can do it, and you can also do it to Slack, and personally for your organization, or even personally, if you want to opt out, you can do it by yourself, right? We are working also to provide product updates within the cloud and things like that. So stay tuned. More things. Many of these requests come directly from customer requests. And this one as well, right? We didn't have a Terraform until Alexander Marcelov said, okay, I will do it, and we have it, right? In this case, this is already showing off for some customers. And yeah, for those who want to programmatically manage the deployments, we still have the API. The API is there. You can use it, but the Terraform is here, and it's you can take it in the registry, but also in integrations, right? As a reminder how our integrations work, you just need to go there, select the deployment, and we will guide you through the process of integrating. In this case, with Terraform. And if, I don't know, you want to see it without logging, sometimes we have it in the documentation as well. So this is public. You can just go there and take a look. This is great for copy-paste as well, which we all like, without even needing to ask ChatGPT. You can ask us, and we will give you the exact information. So this is no hallucinated.
Yeah. Jose, just real quick. I was just asking the integrations. I guess you're going to cover it. I was going to say it looked like there was more integrations on that page than the last time I saw that. So it looks like you're going to talk about integrations next. So.
Yeah, exactly. So one important thing is we've been, because as we grow and add more integrations, we realized that we need to group them maybe differently. So in this case, now alerting and recording rules are together, and we have 9 new alerting rules in integrations. They are taken from this popular website, which is a collection of awesome Prometheus alerts. And let's start. Some of them are for CI/CD purposes, Argo CD or Flag CD. Also for the Open Telemetry Collector, this couple are my favorite because I've been working with these things in the past, and also for networking, Core DNS, Istio, and Console, and for databases like your Kubernetes one, etcd, or PostgreSQL or ClickHouse. So, if your ClickHouse database goes down, VictoriaMetrics Cloud can help you to monitor that. What else? Okay, so that was like a lot of focus features for this quarter, but we've been busy doing many other things, even improving. We were having conversations like for disaster recovery, to improve our resilience. Many improvements in this. Also infra upgrades, day-to-day work that we need to do that is very important and consumes a lot of time. Also scaling VMouth in this case to help with HPA to help this scalability. We have this new metric that is called data read rate, because this is very interesting, because we wanted to show customers, we know how to show the ingestion rate, we know how to show the number of active time series, and also the churn rate. But with reading, it was difficult, right? Because it's how many data points are you reading, or how data points per query, and this kind of. But we wanted to show the amount of effort your deployment is doing because of reading, and that we didn't have. In this case, we extracted the open source metric and named it here as the data read rate. So you can check per minute like the effort your instance is doing. And if you are doing a lot, you will receive an alert based on these benchmarks that we have done. So you will get notified like, okay, you're reading a lot in this case, or you are consuming a lot of resources in reading. So maybe you will need to go to a higher tier, right? So it's great for monitoring.
So could that be a higher tier, or could it be indicating also something that's gone wrong with the way they're using something? I'm just curious, it initially it should be, hey, you're using this all. If you're using everything as per the book, you should go up, but could it also be sort of an indicator of, something, you might need to look at something that in your own usage?
So first thing is, what I've learned also in the hard way is that there is no such a thing as a canonical way of doing things. Like everybody's doing differently. But yeah, it's one more metric that you can have to. Things are interconnected, right? If you have a lot of churn rate, then when you are going to read, the stress goes differently. If you are having a lot of recording rules, which require your instance to make work in the background, that also impacts. So things are interconnected. So in this case, you can check what's this, and also VictoriaMetrics in the background is doing some indexing, which needs reading data as well. So all of this is here, so you can understand how loaded you are in terms of reading. This is the advantage here.
Okay.
And yeah, so also. We've been improving in access tokens, adding some limits so you don't start crazy adding a lot of access tokens, showing in the API the last time you used a token, maybe then you can check programmatically and maybe delete it or revoke it, and some bug fixes, enabling the organization ID in this was something that could be, if you had more than one organization, it could be not convenient for you. So now it's we're working to fix that. And yeah, some other issues like or bug fixes and improvements in cards. And like now when your card is expiring, now you have a notifications. You don't need to wait till the end and find out you forgot about that. So that's what we've done, but I also wanted to talk about something we've been spending a lot of time, which is with VictoriaLogs. I really wanted to be here showing, hey, VictoriaLogs is out in cloud, right? We couldn't do it, but it's so close. I will not commit to any date because I will say in 3 weeks, and then maybe we do it in 1 week, or maybe something happens. We just want to provide the best service possible. And what we are finishing right now is backups part and defining these tiers, which after some benchmarking we've done, we are very close to do that, and also because of the proof of concepts that we are doing with interested customers. So thank you very much. Like for real. Like they've been providing feedback. We've been fixing it. The team has been working very hard on this, and it's great. So really, it's helping a lot. But the good part is that we are now super close to finish this beta and launch it. We have learned, one of the things we learned in the hard way was that in AWS, when you are using, we wanted to provide the most cost-effective service, and we said, hey, all the data should be, or most of the data should be in your memory. Maybe we can try to use HDD. What we found is for a small amounts of disk, the quota that AWS gives can be depleted or consumed super quick, and then things start to go slow and didn't work well. There are these details in Alexander's tweet here, and also the team was working on that, and we had great conversations internally to understand this. We will revisit this in the future, because for bigger loads and even for metrics, it can be a great way to reduce costs. But right now, we have learned this, and yeah.
It's an interesting thing on here, Jose. I was just sort of thinking about, what's the big difference between self-managed and going to VictoriaMetrics Cloud. This here, though, not to be pushy too on this VictoriaMetrics Cloud part, but I look at it going, man, there are not many people that would have figured out what the problem was behind the scenes and how to optimize it, like you and Alex and the team. So I'm just thinking, like, that's to me like a huge advantage of, if somebody's running this self-managed and they're running it on their AWS, they're not going to discover this, and their performance and costs are out of whack. So I think it's great that we've got the skills to discover this, and B, that we're sharing this information, even though that people that are hosting their own VictoriaMetrics instances can think about storage now in a better way, right?
Yeah, well, if I am honest, I am always impressed on how great engineers our users are. I can tell you that. But yeah, that's one of the advantages of using a managed service. Of course, we do it for you. We try it and help. Yeah, in this case, the team did a great job here, and it was a good one. And again, because we had this case that had low volume, we discovered it. Otherwise, we would have discovered it maybe later, right? So it was a very interesting use case. It was a very, very interesting one. All right, so yeah, and we are going to do a lot of things in the future. Stay tuned. When VictoriaTraces goes GA, we will go hand in hand. This one is going to be much quicker because we have learned a lot with logs. So in this case, we will be super prepared, and also some requests coming from customers. But yeah, the future will tell. The last thing I wanted to say is sign up and try by yourself. And you will see this Easter egg that I don't know if people have been paying attention, but yeah, we wanted to wish happy holidays to all our users and viewers, and yeah. So thanks everyone. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah. Thanks, Jose. That was awesome, and I love that little thing. It's up in the corner. It reminds me of my daughter brought me home a little Lego Santa, and that hat looks just like the one that you've got up on the logo. So that's really slick. So yeah, thanks. It looks like you've put a lot under the tree for anybody using VictoriaMetrics Cloud. So there you go. Awesome. Thanks so much, Jose. Really appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing what's next. So have a happy holidays as well. Thanks. All right. And now we've got coming up the person that I bounced off stage last time. Alex, how are you?
Hi, Mark. I'm waiting for my talk, for my turn. Let's start, because we already spent almost 2 hours. Yeah, so let me be quicker for my talk. Yeah, let's start. So what's new in VictoriaLogs in the last quarter? The first thing is that VictoriaLogs gained delete API, which allows you deleting arbitrary logs by arbitrary filters, but there is a big warning here that this delete API isn't intended for use, everyday use. It is intended only for exceptional cases when you need to delete some data because of GDPR or because you noticed that you stored some passwords or keys, sensitive information, which should not be stored in logs. And why this important? Because VictoriaLogs VictoriaLogs storage isn't optimized for delete API, for the logs deletion, for frequent logs deletion. When you instruct deletion logs in VictoriaLogs, it needs to rescan all the data stored on disk and remerge it and drop the logs which match the delete query, and then store the measured results without these deleted logs. So it really physically removes these logs which you request for being deleted. And this delete API is asynchronous because of this. You schedule a task via API for starting this deletion operation, and you can inspect the status of this task via another API, which shows you currently executing deletion requests. And you can cancel this task at any time. But if you cancel this task at any time, this doesn't mean that all the data will be returned back, which probably already deleted. This task just will stop at the point when you cancel it. It will not return back your data which you already deleted.
Do we log when the logs are deleted? Like if somebody runs against the delete log API, is that?
Yes. So all the operations which issue the deletion task are logged in VictoriaLogs. So you can audit them, inspect them, and figure out who and when and how started this deletion operations and how long did it take. So the next improvement is thank you to Vadim on VictoriaLogs team, who improved performance of OpenTelemetry parser by 10 times. And this is not a joke. It's really the performance improvement by 10 times. This sounds like magic, but it's not magic. You can see benchmark results here, and the performance really, in some cases, the performance improved more than 10 times actually for OpenTelemetry parsing. But do not expect that you will see this performance improvements for data ingestion path over OpenTelemetry protocol, because VictoriaLogs needs to do other work when you ingest data over OpenTelemetry protocol. The first part of this work is to parse this protocol, and this part is improved by 10 times. But after that, VictoriaLogs needs to process this parsed data and store this parsed data, and this part isn't improved. The performance of this part isn't improved. So overall, you may expect performance improvements by, like in this case, the user, one of our users migrated to this new version of VictoriaLogs and said that performance, the CPU usage dropped from 1.9 to 1.4 CPU cores, so it's around 50% or something like this, and also memory usage reduced from 1 gigabyte to 700 megabytes. So expect results similar to this one.
So we're gonna, if we get any faster, we're going to be making time. This is that's huge improvements. That's amazing.
Yeah. So the next improvement is that VictoriaLogs started supporting OpenTelemetry events. This some kind of logs, this subtype of logs with special field event name, and if you ingest logs with event name field via OpenTelemetry protocol, then VictoriaLogs treats specially this event name field. It puts it automatically this field into log stream fields. So every all the logs for the same event are put into the same log stream, because all such logs usually have the same set of fields. That's main distinction between event and structured log, because event of the same time, of the same name, has the same set of fields. And VictoriaLogs is optimized for this case. This case called wide events, and VictoriaLogs works very fast and compresses data very well for this case. And it works automatically in the latest version of VictoriaLogs. Another thing also is related to OpenTelemetry is named instrumentation scope. This is another yet another set of fields at the in OpenTelemetry protocol, which were ignored previously by VictoriaLogs and VictoriaMetrics, and recently we added support for these fields. So these fields are automatically converted to log fields and to metrics in VictoriaMetrics case, or to labels in VictoriaMetrics case. So currently, VictoriaLogs, the latest version of VictoriaLogs, supports almost 100% of all the functionality, all the features of OpenTelemetry for logs.
So we do have a question here that came up. It's so should we expect an announcement regarding S3 support for VictoriaLogs? Now this is the same as when is cluster coming, and you finally answered that one. So this will be the
Yes.
question we'll hear all the time.
Yes.
So
Yes. Let's wait until the end of my talk, and I'll cover this question. So let's return back to features. The next feature is related to syslog protocol. VictoriaLogs has very good support for syslog protocol, and this support improves with every new release. And the recent release of VictoriaLogs gains support for this common event expression extension for syslog. What is this extension? It allows you sending structured logs as JSON lines and embed such structured logs into syslog message. That's just basics of this CAE common event expression feature. And VictoriaLogs automatically parses such logs, detects them, parses them when they are ingested via syslog protocol, and automatically stores every field from such log into separate field in VictoriaLogs. So the next feature is might be very useful for when you provide some services on top of VictoriaLogs for your users, and if your logs contain some sensitive data in some fields, and you want to hide these fields for some users. And this feature, VictoriaLogs supports such feature. You can provide a list of log fields which must be hidden for the given query, and users will not be able to filter by these fields and will not be able to see these fields in query results. That's a useful feature for some cases.
out of sight, out of mind stuff, right?
Yeah. The next feature is quality of life improvement. VictoriaLogs supports this command line flag. Search logs low query duration. You can specify it and specify some duration. And if queries take more time than this duration, then such queries are logged into VictoriaLogs log. So you can inspect later these queries and try to optimize them or make some other decisions.
Quick question, not to throw a wrench into this, but is that also something that maybe anomaly detection, VM Anomaly, might be able to look at the slow query log output as well for looking for anything anomalous?
Probably, yeah. There are many different cases how this information can be used, and other than provide persistent logs for slow queries, VictoriaLogs also increments new metrics via slow queries total, and this metric can be consumed by VM Anomaly or other tools for various use cases. The next feature is which allows you limiting the depth of backfilling. By default, VictoriaLogs accepts logs with any timestamps for the configured retention. So you can backfill logs, store historical logs at any timestamp. And there are some cases when it is important to do not allow to store, to ingest logs with too old timestamps. And now VictoriaLogs gains such feature with new command line flag, max backfilling age. And if you pass this flag to VictoriaLogs, then it will reject logs with timestamps older than the given duration age. So the next feature is related to alerting. As you know, VMAlert supports alerts and recurring rules on top of VictoriaLogs. So you can provide VictoriaLogs queries to VMAlert, use them in alerting and recurring rules. And there are some cases for which are useful for alerting when you want to show in alert to show the user a sample of some log message. For example, you search for log messages which contain error word, like in this case, and want to show in alert a sample of such message. And previously it was impossible, or it was hard to do, and now it is very easy. You can here is an example of such query. It selects all the logs with error word for the last 1 day, and then builds statistics grouped by Kubernetes container name. And here is a magic. This is a raw any function which accepts fields which must be returned back by this function, and this function just returns a sample of this fields you passed here. And in this case, it instructs to return a sample of message per each Kubernetes container name out of this logs which contain error word and message. And after that, you unpack them. That's not necessary, actually, but in this case, it's used. And you can see that in this case, VictoriaLogs returns this result, a sample of such log message, which contains error word somewhere here.
That's perfect. So delivering context along with the alert, I'm sure that's a big time saver. That'll be a welcome one.
Okay, the next feature is related to block stats pipe. This pipe provides the ability to investigate how much this space is occupied by data or by Bloom filters per each log field. And previously, this information didn't contain log stream field, and the recent version of VictoriaLogs added this log stream field in this information. So now you can calculate, for example, figure out which log streams occupy the most of this space. Like in this case, you select logs for the last 20 days and then apply this block stats pipe, and then calculate stats grouped by log stream. Calculate the sum of size of on this size values bytes for these log fields and sum of Bloom filters. Then calculate with mass pipe the sum of sizes of values and Bloom filters, and sort them by total bytes, and get only top five log streams. And you can see query results here. Then you see that the top log stream with push event type occupies the most of the disk space, more than 6 gigabytes. That might be useful when you for the operations of VictoriaLogs, when you need to investigate which streams occupy the most of the space, and then decide how to optimize, how to reduce this space usage. So that were features major features in VictoriaLogs during the last quarter, and let's look at the features at Web UI, which is built into VictoriaLogs. The first feature is the ability to group hits by any log field. Previously, WebUI didn't allow this, and it by default showed grouping by top log streams. And now you can see here group by selector, and it supports automatically auto suggestion for all the log fields. You can select any log field and instantly see grouping by this log field, grouping of hits by this log field. In this case, you can see here Kubernetes container image names, grouping by Kubernetes container image names. Another feature also related to this hits bar chart, ability to show top n groups of hits. Previously, it was hard-coded to 5, so you only could see top 5 groups for log streams, and now you can see you can select different top n groups up to 50, as I remember. And in this case, 25 groups have been selected, and hits bar chart shows you top 25 groups for Kubernetes container images. And you can see here the last one is other fields entry, and it shows the sum of all the other hits which didn't go into the top 25.
Okay. Question for you on that one was it a technical limitation that it was hard-coded to 5 before, or was it just that was the number we thought would be right? I'm just wondering what led to this.
It was usability limitation, because for humans it is hard to investigate this hit bar charts if the number of hit bar charts per each bar is bigger than 5. That was the main reason.
Okay. So it'll be interesting to watch the stats on how much are used. What are the top number of top hits people search for? So
we don't collect the stats, but it would be interesting to collect.
I mean, for their own, for whoever's deploying it, their own thing. Okay, awesome.
Yeah. The next feature is named stats view. It is also related to this hits bar chart, and you can see here. The query contains stats pipe. It calculates rate, logs rate per each type field. And you can see here the toggle stats view is enabled. And in this case, the hits bar chart shows the stats actually. It doesn't show logs hits in this case. It just shows the stats. It shows that a rate per second rate of logs in this case by type, by this type, push event, create event, and other events is up to 30 logs per second. So that's and you can type any stats. You can visualize any stats here you wish. That feature is also very useful.
Yeah, I can see that being useful for trying to dig down and diagnose and just discover what's actually happening by being able to. The rate is neat.
Yes. And the next quality of life improvement is this easy to toggle stacked hits bar chart. It's also here on the hits bar. By default, when you look at previous screenshots, you see that this hits bar chart by default shows bars which are not stacked on top of each other. That's useful view for the most of the people, but sometimes it's needed to look how these bar charts look when they are stacked on top of each other. And in this case, you can just click the stacked toggle and get this toggle stacked view. And it is useful when you want to see the total volume of logs clear way, and which types, which groups of these logs contribute the most in this top volume of logs. So the next feature is very useful. It's named Logs Overview tab. VictoriaLogs gained support of this log server tab. It is located in top left corner. Unfortunately, I forgot making screenshot of this button on the top left corner of VMUI, but it exists there. And when you click on this button, you will see this log server tab, and it shows various useful information for logs, such as total number of logs on the selected time range, the rate of these logs, per second rate of these logs, the number of unique log streams on the selected time range, and the number of not number, but which field names are used in these logs, and various statistics for these field names, such as in how many logs every field name presents, and the coverage is a percentage of logs which contain this field name. And you can go deeper. You can click on on any this field name, like in this case, and get statistics for field values for this field name on the right side, such as for each field name, how many logs with this field value for this field name, and so on. And after that, you can click on any such value and apply filtering. So you can instantly see logs with this given filter for this field name with given field value.
That's a nice quality of life update there.
Yeah, some of our users said that it's very useful for them. But if you have ideas how this can be improved, then we are ready to listen, and please file feature requests and we will implement them. Another very good feature is the ability to download all the logs which are selected on the current time range for the given query. Like in this case, you can see that in this case, the number of selected logs is more than 100,000.
131,000.
This total hits is the number of logs on the given time range. And previously, obviously, VMUI doesn't show this 100,000 of logs in the browser, because otherwise the browser will crash without memory error and will slow down the curl. But you can still download all the selected logs. And when you click on this small button here, download button, you will download all the selected logs. Even if the number of logs is a billion, it will download all these logs without crashing your browser, because it downloads these logs directly from VictoriaLogs and doesn't load these logs into the browser.
Is there two questions on that? One, is there anything like, I assume there is, when you click on the download, there's a next step for confirmation. I'm just thinking of what I would do is run a star query and then accidentally hit a button and begin downloading everything. I assume there's some sort of, if you click that arrow, it says, do you want to download this, or does it just download it right away?
No, there is a pop-up. When you click download button, you will see pop-up when you can enter a file name for this downloaded information. And this pop-up also contains all the information, such as the query used, the time range used, and the number of logs which it will download, if I remember correctly. So you will see this information, and then you can click download and download this data. And probably there is another question where. For suppose you select a billion of logs and want to download a billion of logs, and whether it will crash VictoriaLogs server. The answer is no, because VictoriaLogs is optimized for such downloads, and the resource usage at VictoriaLogs site is limited by this download speed. And the download speed is limited by network bandwidth usage or by your disks where you store this data. So if download is paused or is the download speed is reduced, then the resource usage at VictoriaLogs site is reduced in the same way. So it will not crash VictoriaLogs. You can freely download billion of logs with this functionality.
Awesome. One more question on it, Alex, is just thinking back to, we talked about sort of tracking activities before, as we know that what query was run and what. With this, if logs are downloaded, that is something that we track, that somebody's downloaded this batch of logs, or is that something that should be added or could be added, or is there? Meaning just trackability, accountability for if I download all of the logs, is there any way to know that I downloaded all the logs, or? Right. I'm just wondering if that's a security issue or not.
No. This download of logs isn't different. It uses the same API which is used for querying of logs. Okay. And it is hard to detect whether this you want to download all the logs or want to just make some query. That's why this information isn't logged at VictoriaLogs site. But if you enable this log slow query, for example, option, then and start downloading some huge amounts of logs, in this case, such query will be logged because it will exceed this query duration.
Okay, awesome, thanks.
The next feature, quality of life improvement, is when you type time filter in a query, then VMUI automatically adjusts the selected time range for this time filter time range without the need to change this time range via UI. So you type here time filter for last 7 days, and VictoriaLogs automatically updates this his bar chart and all the information, the selected time range to this last 7 days, and shows you a warning about this, and you can disable this functionality in settings if you don't like this functionality. Another improvement related to multi-tenancy. VictoriaLogs supports multi-tenancy, and now WebUI provides you automatic suggestion for available tenants, tenant IDs, and you can select here in the top right corner the needed tenant to query with auto suggestion of all the available tenants. Another feature is a very good feature. I like this feature very much. It just shows you a version of VictoriaLogs in WebUI, and you can see this version in the bottom right corner. It is a very useful feature actually, because when some issue happens or some feature request is requested by user, the first question from us is which version of VictoriaLogs do you run? And there are many places where you can find this version, but it was not obvious, and now it's very obvious where you can find this version.
Feature request from the peanut gallery here. I love that. If that was able to say that, if it says it identifies I'm using version 1.4, 1.0, let's say that that's 2 versions old. If that could be letting me know in yellow or some other indicator that I'm not running the most current version. Just so from as a user's perspective, I might log in here and never know that there's a new version. But this way, if I see that it's yellow or red, meaning that it's a version that had a CVE we did or whatever it is, just something down there to keep people thinking about, hey, am I running the latest version? Is there something I'm not getting because of this?
Yeah, this sounds like a very good feature request, and please file this feature request at VictoriaLogs repository, and I think that we will implement it eventually.
Cool.
Okay, the next feature is related to mobile view. When you open WebUI for VictoriaLogs from your smartphone, previously it was it was not so pretty, and our guys who work on WebUI for VictoriaLogs improved this significantly, and now mobile view for VictoriaLogs WebUI looks very good and is usable.
It looks awesome. Yeah.
So these were features for WebUI, and let's look at the features for VictoriaLogs data source for Grafana. The first feature is related to quick filters for log levels. When you edit query, you can see here quick buttons for log levels, and if you click any such button, your query is automatically updated with filters, which most likely will filter the given log level. Like in this case, the info button has been clicked, and you see that it automatically adds some filters for level log field and for severity log field, which selects all the logs with information and not just values. That's quality of life improvement. Also, VictoriaLogs data source gained improved interpolation for variables when you create these variables, and then you can use these variables in any queries on dashboard. And this has been improved significantly and simplified significantly. In most cases, it is enough to use only equal and not equal types of operations or filters in the query, and these filters can be related to log stream filters inside curly braces or outside curly braces, which are related to regular filters. And WebUI for VictoriaLogs automatically translates these filters equal and or not equal to the correct filters for LogSQL and sends them to VictoriaLogs. So this improves interpolation for these variables. And the next feature is related to improved readability for bar chart panel. Previously, the bar chart panel had very thin bars, and they were not readable and hard to understand. And now we see this much improved bars with proper width, and they are much easier to read and understand.
It's amazing what the difference can be on just the width of those lines and shape, isn't it? It just goes from,
Yeah. Also, Grafana plugin for VictoriaLogs gains support for automatic suggestion for tenant selector in settings, data source settings, like in WebUI. And it gains support for this small button, run in WebUI. When you edit query, you can click on this button, and this VictoriaLogs data source will open you this query in WebUI, so you can investigate it in WebUI. That's it, and let's discuss VLegend. And VLegend, the main feature of VLegend, which has been appeared in the last quarter, is the ability to discover and collect logs in Kubernetes. So our plan is to replace Vector with VLegend for collecting logs, discovering and collecting logs in Kubernetes. And VLegend already gained support for this, and our next step is to replace this Vector with VLegend in VictoriaLogs collector Helm chart for Kubernetes.
Is that delivering for a performance, and we have more ability to instrument and control that?
Yeah, that's a good question. And as for performance, VLegend outperforms Vector. Actually, it uses less CPU and less memory than Vector when it collects the same sets of logs in Kubernetes, and so it's more resource efficient than Vector. And obviously, it's more resource efficient than other types of collectors, such as Grafana Alloy and FluentBit and other different types of log collectors, because they are much more inefficient in memory usage and CPU usage compared to Vector. And VLegend is more resource efficient than Vector.
Seems to be a theme across all of our software, isn't it? That it's just it does more faster with less resources. It's shocking how we can keep finding more and more performance.
Yeah. And we have also VictoriaTraces, and VictoriaTraces got two important features. The first feature is it gains support for Jaeger service dependency graph API, and it helps you building such pretty graphs of service communication, microservice communications based on this collected traces in Jaeger.
So when you called them pretty graphs instead of useful graphs, do you find as much utility in these as they are, or I wonder if that sounded loaded.
They are actually useful. They may be useful in some cases, and we, for example, I don't know whether they are useful in this case, in Jaeger case, but they are really useful in VictoriaMetrics case, and we are going to implement similar graphs in VictoriaMetrics soon, which will show the communication paths between VictoriaMetrics components such as VM select, VM insert, VM storage, VM agent, VM alert, and so on. And you can clearly see where on which path you have problems. For example, in the cluster case, you will see which connections have high saturation, and this means that there are some problems on these connections, and you instantly, and when you look at this graph, you will instantly see with the color code that some connections might have some problems, and you need to investigate more on these connections. So such graphs are useful in some cases. And another feature is related to OpenTelemetry gRPC data ingestion. VictoriaTraces gained support for data ingestion, traces ingestion over gRPC OpenTelemetry. And the fun thing here is that we didn't use the official SDK for implementing this feature, because this official SDK is bloated and increases the size of VictoriaTraces by twice, as I remember. And we followed another path, created this gRPC server from scratch. And it has been appeared that it's very easy to implement it, not hard to implement it. Thank you for Ji-kun, who made this, and he also published a very good article about this. You can read this article, find this article in our blog, VictoriaMetrics blog, and read about this.
That's just another example of our amazing team finding something going, but that way doesn't make sense because it's bloated, and then just fixing it. Like it's, I don't know, I'm always thrilled with that.
Yeah, and also we have updates in Helm charts. We added a new chart, which is named VictoriaLogs multi-level. What it does, it allows you building multi-level setups of VictoriaLogs, such as you can you can create multiple instances of VictoriaLogs, multiple clusters of VictoriaLogs, and then build this multi-level cluster, multi-level Helm chart, and instruct it to query all these single nodes and clusters you have, and get this global querying view. And this Helm chart is very useful for building this very flexible schemes, which you can just imagine for VictoriaLogs for querying paths. And our next big features is the following. In Val Agent, we are going to add an ability to transform and filter logs before sending them to remote storage. And this feature will rely on LogSQL filters and transformation pipes. So you can reuse filters and pipes which are familiar to you from LogSQL in configuring these transformations and filtering in Val Agent. And
oh, what a surprise!
Yeah, VictoriaLogs is going to support object storage, and there are two phases. Here, the first phase is to gradually migrate old logs to object storage, and the migrated logs will remain queryable. And the next phase is to get rid of local storage and store all the logs directly into object storage. And we are going to, it's phrase, it's phase one, not phrase. And we are going to implement the first phase soon, probably in January. And after that, we will work on the second phase.
January's coming up quick.
Yes. The work on this object storage is happening.
Awesome. Yeah.
And I encourage you install VictoriaLogs in production and be happy, and don't wait. I don't know, for object storage or some other features. Just use it now.
Oh, that's awesome. I totally agree with you. And one of the interesting things, I've been looking at some statistics about all of our different software and how it's being used from different repos, like just pull activity, looking at seeing how active things are, and looking at the growth spike in the last quarter for VictoriaLogs is really something. So it's definitely getting a lot more adoption. And I agree with what you said is don't wait for the next feature, because we're adding features that are great at such a pace that, yeah, get in now so you can get in and get familiar with it. But it's so fun to watch the progress of the logs product. So thank you to you and the whole team. There were a couple of questions, Alex, that did come up that I just want to hit right now. One came in asking if VictoriaLogs, here, I'll put it on the screen too, if VictoriaLogs can also do alerting and charting, which use cases VictoriaMetrics better suited for? So, and again, I think what this is talking about is now that we've got a logs product, a metrics product, and a traces product, well, how do you decide which one to use, and how do you see them all? So to you.
They do not replace each other. VictoriaLogs doesn't replace VictoriaMetrics and vice versa. They comply each other because logs, the quality of logs is that the property of logs is that they usually occupy much more disk space and require much more resources compared to metrics. Metrics and usually metrics are calculated from logs, or we can just skip this step of generating logs and generating metrics from these logs, and you can just generate metrics without generating logs. This is what is done by applications which are instrumented only with metrics. But you can generate logs at first, and after that generate the same set of metrics from these logs. And since metrics occupy less disk space and require less resources, they are more efficient to query, and they are more cost efficient. And that's why it is recommended to generate logs from metrics generate metrics from logs for cases which are frequently requested, and you need to get very quick responses for such metrics. In this case, it's better to generate such metrics from logs with VMAlert, with records and rules in VMAlert, store them in VictoriaMetrics, and then query these metrics from VictoriaMetrics, and do not load VictoriaLogs with these queries.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? It's like our ethos is make things, as we've said several times, super efficient and no bloat. So picking the right tool for the job is right. So logs in VictoriaLogs, metrics in VictoriaMetrics, and then you can be looking across those because there's connected data. So, okay, that's cool. Thank you. And one that came up is, I'm surprised that there was nothing mentioned about VictoriaLogs Percy's data source. Is that?
VictoriaLogs Percy's data source. That was my fault. Actually, sorry. It was good, a great addition. There is a Percy's project, this competitor for Grafana, for visualization Grafana. It is slimmer than Grafana and younger and not so bloated. And thank you to one of our team member, Andrew, who implemented data source for Perses and sent pull request to Perses, and this data source has been merged into Perses. Yeah, sorry for not forgot that I forgot about this.
Awesome. One question I have is, it looks like we're building the VictoriaLogs is progressing like all of our software super fast. And we've got VM or the VictoriaLogs UI now, the web UI, which is progressing and growing great. And we're all building the same stuff for in Grafana. Is there always going to be, or trying to reach parity between what we build in our interface versus what we're building for people who are using Grafana as their front interface? I'm just wondering how you decide what to build into our web UI versus build for a Grafana data source.
They serve quite different purposes. Our web UI in VictoriaMetrics and VictoriaLogs, the main purpose of them is to quick investigation of your data, of your metrics and your logs, quick exploration of your metrics and logs, and troubleshooting. And the main purpose of Grafana is to build pretty dashboards with different panels and graphs. And these use cases are different. And in the recent time, Grafana started to catching up on this use case, like for web UI, for logs exploration and troubleshooting. They created this Logs Explorer, Metrics Explorer, and other things. But I believe that our web UI for VictoriaMetrics and VictoriaLogs are better suited for these tasks. And we are not going to implement this dashboarding stuff in web UI for VictoriaLogs and VictoriaMetrics because it doesn't suit probably in the future. Oh, by the way, we have a very secret project initiated by Alex Marshall, which probably will become more popular than Grafana dashboards in the future. Let's wait, but it's secret
Cool.
at the moment.
Well, you got my interest piqued. Awesome. Well, again, Alex, thank you so much. It was great to hear all of this about sort of what's being done, what's happening next, and just somebody being able to pick your brain and thoughts on that. So I really appreciate that. And I think our next guests are going to be our VictoriaTraces team. It's going to be Matthias and Jay Kuhn. So Alex, thank you again. I really appreciate it and look forward to the next time we can learn more about VictoriaLogs. Thanks. All right, Matthias.
I think G Kuhn will not be with us today because it is very late in his local time zone.
Time zone?
Yeah, not everybody lives their life off of UTC, surprisingly.
It's crazy. Now, as an insider one, was it not at KubeCon where people were trying to move to UTC as everything?
My calendar actually has my local time and UTC on it just because I work I'm used to doing like troubleshooting cases and stuff that are distributed around the world. It's easier just to do things in UTC sometimes.
Yeah. I love it. Awesome. So you're going to talk to us about VictoriaTraces, the roadmaps and updates, what's been put into it so far. Is that right?
Yep. Well, what Alex didn't steal.
He took all the highlights and hinted towards a super secret project. So
he didn't steal all of them, thankfully. So,
all right. So you tell us what's left.
All right. Did my presentation fall off the face of the earth? I can put it back.
Yeah, I do not see. That's why I didn't click it. I just saw
Slides
you.
in PDF.
Whenever Matthias and I get on screen at the same time, this stuff happens.
We're cursed together. All right. So VictoriaTraces is a relatively new product, and just some fun backstory. It actually started off as an experiment as a Jaeger backend. So the way most tracing works now is, or the way a lot of tracing databases work is that they're an existing database like ClickHouse or OpenSearch or Cassandra, and they sit behind the Jaeger interface. And we were curious to see like traces and logs are fairly similar. One of my friends that works at Altinity argues that traces are just really structured logs, and we already had a really cool logging database of what would happen if we slapped it behind Jaeger. Turns out it was a really performant tracing database. And then so we can keep with kind of the same like single binary style of VictoriaMetrics, we implemented the Jaeger UI on top of that and have been making more tracing optimizations. So that's kind of like the lore of VictoriaTraces. And a bit more about the tracing ecosystem in general is OpenTelemetry pretty much won, which is a really good thing for tracing because traces are the hardest signal to implement across organizations because changing vendors between logs is fairly easy. You're just scraping a different endpoint of standard out or using a different shipper to scrape the log files that are already created or already being received via syslog. Metrics are primarily consumed by SREs, and Prometheus kind of won as the standard there. So it's just most vendors have some way of scraping Prometheus endpoints, so people don't have to do a ton of work if they switch vendors. But for tracing, you had to get developers to change code for observability whenever you switch vendors, which from my past experience was a nightmare because observability is definitely a major value add, but it's more abstract than like landing a new feature.
Yeah. Well, and it's also too, is that when they had to instrument that, not only did the developers have to do that, but it was also language dependent. So if I'm instrumenting in particular language, the vendor's agent would be agent X, that language. So there was a lot more, changing agents.
There's different SDKs.
Yeah. There's a lot of thought that has to go in. So switching vendors could be tough if you have to re-instrument all the time.
Correct. And like my previous job prior to VictoriaMetrics was I was a contractor that just ran around and asked people to update their applications to use a different system. And it was months and we didn't even get through metrics, which was one of the easier signals to get done.
Sorry, that just had an Office Space flashback of what's your job? Well, I take this report and I bring it to engineering. Would you talk to them? No. So you took it and asked people to upgrade. Beautiful. It's all right, Milton, go ahead.
Hey, my office is upstairs still. I haven't been kicked into the basement yet, but we'll see. And so what VictoriaTraces wanted to be was that you could just have one binary with no dependencies. So you didn't have to run a front end application in a back end database or have object storage or a separate UI. It would just be a single binary. So it's a simple resource binary. There's no like shim or anything between that. You can just send your OTLP traces straight to VictoriaTraces, or you could use it in conjunction with OTel collector. It's even easier now that we have gRPC and HTTP support for OpenTelemetry. So now rather than having a backend in a separate storage tier and having to use the collector, you can just send traces straight from your application into VictoriaTraces, or you could use it with the OTel collector.
Any super apparent advantage to either decision, or is it just preference?
So kind of like our tech talk in January with logs, where we recommended using a collector so you can do some shaping and like tail sampling or other forms of rate limiting. Mm-hmm. That's what the collector would do. But there's also situations like I'm trying to get Alert Manager to send distributed traces to a container in the same compose file. I don't need to send that through OTel collector. So some highlighted features that have happened in the last quarter. Alex had already mentioned service dependencies. So if you do want to put VictoriaTraces behind the Jaeger UI and view the service dependencies graph, that's possible as of version 0.4. And then in 0.5, we got support for gRPC. And then in prior versions, we also had support for the HTTP, JSON, and protobuf for traces as well. Another nice thing is the lookups that get performed when you run a query in VictoriaTraces are now index aware. So before it would search over every hour, and the index is based on every day. So instead of having one search per day, you would have 24, and that would hit the database fairly hard. So it was a fairly simple optimization to just search by day instead of search by hour. And it's also aware now of the retention period, so it'll start to reject queries that fall outside of the retention period as well. And there's also been some optimization around using the trace as an index, which I don't believe was the case initially. And then next on the roadmap is we want to have better performance for looking up trace ID. So kind of the primary difference between logs and traces is that there's like a known trace ID that will always be there that you can index on. And so that's something we want to have as well. We want to have a better experience for searching traces that take a longer period of time. So like there might be a batch job that would lengthen how long that trace would take. And we also want to start looking into using the Tempo API. Tempo is the tracing solution by Grafana Labs. It has a full-blown query language rather than like simple search functionality that Jaeger has. It also unlocks some better integration with the traces drill down feature in Grafana, which if traces ends up being anything like logs is going to be one of the most requested features. Another nice thing that the Tempo API will add is Percy support. So we won't have to write our own data source for Percy's. Percy's already supports the Tempo API. So we would just, similar to what you can do with VictoriaMetrics and Prometheus, you can just say, hey, pretend this is a or basically we impersonate the Tempo API the same way we impersonate the Prometheus API in metrics. Another thing we want to do right now is improve the built-in UI. Right now, I believe it's still just the one we inherited from VictoriaLogs, and we want to make it so it's a bit more dedicated to tracing itself. Other stuff we have going on in 2026, Ji-Kun and Jay's talk about retroactive sampling and how to reduce bandwidth usage for and how to reduce usage for sampling is going to be at KubeCon Amsterdam, March 23rd through the 26th in Amsterdam.
Ji-Kun and Jace, boy, do I feel old looking at those two individuals. So young and full of life.
And that is it from the Traces side. I blew through that pretty quickly. I apologize in advance, Ji-Kun, if I missed something. I just noticed we were getting close to like the 3-hour mark. So
might not be good, but you're fast.
If you wait first, you're last, right?
Yeah, no, that was good. I think that covered it. And there's, again, it's amazing just how much is getting done in each leg of our product suite or our stack. Is just to see Traces came out of an idea, like you say, from just kicking it around somewhere to a full blown killer product in no time. So yeah, kudos to the team, Ji-Kun and Jace and everyone else for getting that done. And yeah, appreciate it, Matthias. I think now what we're going to move over to is I'm going to bounce you out of here and get to the community news. Oh, he removed himself. What a guy. Okay, so I think here we're going to have Deanna.
I'm on.
Oh, we're going to add JJ.
Hello.
And Dennis. Hey, anyone else, or is it the whole crew?
That's the crew.
Hey, you guys have stuck around now for 2 hours, 57 minutes and 15 seconds. So we greatly appreciate that. And, we want to end it on a high note with some awesome information from this team. So if you guys want to maybe even just do a real quick intro again to who you are and let you take it from there.
Okay. So I'm Dennis. I am a communities marketing manager at VictoriaMetrics.
Diana,
Yeah.
you want to go next?
I'm Diana. I'm developer experience engineer at VictoriaMetrics.
Hi, and I'm JJ or Jean Jérôme, and I look after marketing at VictoriaMetrics with Diana, Denise, and Mark, and the rest of the team. Yeah.
It's weird to hear that my sister's name is Denise spelled differently. So when I heard Denise and Mark, I'm like, oh my God, am I in trouble? So sorry about that. Awesome. Now, I don't see any slides that you guys have up. Did we miss them? Or are you going to present them or what?
One moment.
Okay.
One moment.
Awesome.
We're just waiting for the 2 minutes, so we had the 3 hours now. And
oh, that's right, because you've got a speaking part, so you're into super overtime in for your movie rates here, right?
Totally.
Yeah, we're almost at our bedtime. Right?
Awesome.
Okay, so should we start?
I
No?
think so. Yeah. If
Sure.
you guys want to share, what the community updates are. This is a super exciting part because I think everything we've heard up to this point has really been driven by our community, right? It's talking about an amazing customer, Spotify user, Spotify, who finds us in the community and deploys us. All of the traces came from ideas from the community. So what you guys are going to share, I think, is really the right in deep in our DNA. So take it away.
Okay, so let's start with some great numbers. So this year we achieved 1 billion of VictoriaMetrics products downloads in different platforms, Docker, GitHub, and other Quay, for example. So we see the interest of our products by growing the community. So our community grows spontaneously for VictoriaLogs, as I say. And more participants we see for sending us feature requests, filling bug requests, bug issues, and thank you for being this year with us. This year we achieved good and great, I can say. We are in the top 10 of database engines for most of 400, I think, different other databases. That is great, and keep calm. We should be in the top 5. So fingers crossed. And a few milestones for this year. This year we started to work on implementation of VictoriaTraces, and we completed the VictoriaMetrics observability stack. So we are say Victoria stack. We made and release many of MCP servers for our products, for VictoriaMetrics, VictoriaLogs, VictoriaTraces, for VictoriaMetrics Cloud, and I think it was yesterday we released MCP server for VM Anomaly. So Fred will post something next year about how to use and how to be involved with AI and VM Anomaly. This year we got stable release of VictoriaLogs cluster. We improve our documentation by using AI chatbot. Max present and shows some really nice logs that the users use it, and we are proud that we are help others to find and help them to use our products. We add and sign VictoriaMetrics and VictoriaLogs data sources, so there is no issue by installing it from any Grafana. So self-hosted, maybe some cloud. Please try it. We had FIPS 140-3 compatible builds that is really required for using in the enterprise companies or government in the USA and Canada. And this year we see not many, but I can say that this is much more than the previous years. Many users, for many companies that use VictoriaMetrics products, VictoriaLogs also, and they post their feedback, their vision, and their benchmark. And they say that VictoriaMetrics and VictoriaLogs significantly reduce resources consumption, increase query performance, disk usage, and decrease compute resources for their observability stacks.
Yeah, and on that one, I just want to add, Denise, is that a lot of the stories are from users or enterprise customers. But again, as we've had these great ones that have been shared, but if anybody listening live or listening to this on demand has an interesting story or a success story or it's just some neat challenges they ran into, we'd love to hear your story and share it as well. So just make sure you stay active in the community and let this team know about these wins.
Yeah, our communities channel are always open for you. So please go and ask and post something. We are glad to see it. And Diana, please.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. Wow, that was like really, really great. I like to see all these new updates. And definitely from a developer experience, we had an amazing year, very active, with 26 conference talks around the globe, sharing obviously our expertise on VictoriaMetrics. We sponsored 5 conferences, like major conferences, and actually hosted 2 dedicated VictoriaMetrics meetups. Overall, we actively engaged in supporting the cloud native and open source communities worldwide. And what we actually love the most is engaging directly with the users, with our users, collecting the feedback, providing this feedback back to internally to our product team so we can definitely improve them. What next? Like some of the topics we covered in our talks, obviously not limited to, were how to solve cardinality issues and scalability issues with VictoriaMetrics, how to run a cost-effective monitoring in Kubernetes, how to build and run an MCP server with VictoriaMetrics, how to manage logs in Kubernetes clusters, obviously with VictoriaLogs. We offer best practices for sustainable observability. And we definitely got into OpenTelemetry a lot, how to instrument with it, how to start contributing to OpenTelemetry and other use cases. So like I said, these are not like exhaustive, but definitely we covered a lot of these topics.
Deanna, speak of contributing to OpenTelemetry. I'm just looking over your left shoulder there too. Is that that's a contributor award for OTEL, is it not?
Yeah, it's real. Yeah, so I had to like so the problem I had to like receiving this, actually sticking it into my luggage on my way over from Atlanta, and yeah, it was a bit of a pain to carry it over, but no, I'm just kidding. It's like really amazing to see the community getting involved in the OpenTelemetry community. And obviously VictoriaMetrics for definitely motivating me and supporting me throughout this journey. I think this is really amazing, and the idea is that our philosophy of open source and how we definitely engage with our community, open source community, is something that it's definitely it's very nice to have. So that's why I'm really happy to receive this award and obviously share it with VictoriaMetrics.
Yeah, and it just shows too, I think, just the commitment to VictoriaMetrics to the open source side of the business, right? It's contributed all over. It's good.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why I'm like really happy to say that. Definitely we listen to all the feedback we receive from our users. So what we're going to do in next year, we're going to have 2 brand new podcasts, like video podcasts. So tune in on January onwards to find out what this new podcast will be about. And we're definitely going to have more VictoriaMetrics meetups. We had lots and lots of users asking us to have more VictoriaMetrics meetups. So we are listening. So definitely we're going to do this in next year. So yeah, these are like just a couple of exciting news from developer experiences side. What else? Just like for you to see that we are actually doing things, not only talking about those. So this is us at a bunch of conferences, definitely engaging with our users, providing feedback, This is what we love the most. Our team is definitely something that we treat like family. So we are happy too that we are together and definitely have a great time. And yeah, like I said, cloud native all over. We had this cloud native Valencia meetup last month, and definitely people were super happy to have VictoriaMetrics over there. So we'll continue this in 2026 for sure. And what's in the bag for the first quarter of 2026 in terms of talks? Definitely will be present at FOSDEM in Brussels at the end of January. We're going to have another presence at camp at Ghent. We're going to have 2 talks actually there. Cloud Native Days France, UP is going to have our talk in French actually, because this conference is just in French. We're going to talk about VictoriaLogs. We're going to have another talk at Container Days London 2026. Whew, I'm getting tired just
Think of the air miles.
Yeah, and obviously KubeCon, Cloud Native Con Europe, like Matthias mentioned, with Drew's talk and Janice's talk about VictoriaTraces and OTLP, definitely super exciting. And we are planning to also be present at Scale 23X, Open Source Summit, and Observability in North America Summit. So lots of goodies.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's probably a few more as well in North America and the rest of the world that aren't yet defined. But yeah, I think this does a great job of just showing that we're really getting a lot of coverage around the world for a small group of people that are going out. Question I have is, if somebody's in our community, somebody who's listening to this, or somebody's a code contributor, is speaking at a meetup somewhere, is there help that we can offer them if somebody reaches out and says, hey, I'm speaking at the a DevOps meetup in Sri Lanka tomorrow. Can you guys give me some guidance or anything? Can we help them out in that way?
Definitely. Absolutely. So we are actually always proactively reaching out to users. Obviously, we cannot see everything, like whatever talks, they're going to offer VictoriaMetrics related, but we definitely did this in the past, and we are actively supporting our users because we want to help them, deliver the best experience for VictoriaMetrics. So we provide them total support. We are happy to help. So definitely we are very open. So you can count on us. You can contact us via Slack and all the other accounts, social media accounts that we have. And we are here for you to support you. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, hopefully some others in the community will take you up on that and say, hey, I can use some help from these people. Let me get going. Awesome. Cool.
And I think that's it from my side.
Oh, that's me.
Yes, that's you. That's you, Mark. And so, yes, so we wanted to plug this in. So we have one last tech talk. Also, this is the last virtual meetup of the year, but we also have a tech talk next week with Mark and Matthias. So please, tune into that, because as Diana mentioned earlier, we have 2 new podcasts planned for next year, but this is the one that started it all 12 months ago. And so thanks to you, Mark and Matthias, for kickstarting this and seeing it through. And so we'll have the last session next week. Yeah. And this is also our 3-year anniversary of this quarterly virtual meetup. So we started this exactly 3 years ago. And I was just thinking about it earlier with one product. And I think we had like 1.5 hours of a meetup was the first one we did. And we now have 6 products, I think. And we had over 3 hours of a meetup. So there's an explanation as to why they take a little bit longer. So we wanted to highlight the last tech talk of the year. And then finally, on the last slide, we do have our community website, which we launched this year as well. So please do and go and check it out. You can contact us through that site as well. You'll see the existing meetups that we have already in place, and we'd love to add more to them. So feel free to contact us also via that website and contribute to the community that way. We'd love to hear from you. And with that, I think we're
Add everybody
at
in.
the end of today's agenda. Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks to everyone who joined and for being here today.
Yep, I'm just gonna add everybody to the stage here. If you're not added to it, oh, whoa, somebody had a scratchy mic. Are we all here?
Mostly.
All right. Well, awesome.
Looks like we're here.
Yeah, so these are the survivors. You guys made it. The long haulers. So yeah, everyone, thank you all, everybody, all of you who are presenting, all of our community, and everybody who's made this such a great year for VictoriaMetrics and observability overall. Wish everybody a super happy holidays. And there's a ton coming out for us for next year. So anything anybody else wants to say on here before we wrap up? We look like the Brady Bunch.
Let's finish this meetup because it already just takes more than 3 hours.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thanks again, everyone. We really appreciate it. One more time, have a great holidays. Thank you from VictoriaMetrics, and we look forward to seeing everybody in the new year. Thanks all.
Have a great time, Harris.
Thank you all.
See ya.